It's okay when we just start. It's also somewhere. I don't think anyone got this properly. Because it jumps from Vijnana Pachaya Jati, Nama Rupa and the order. How did we make it? Doesn't matter. So, all blessings. Now I have to check. All are here who have taken part in the retreat. Everybody there? Everybody's there, right? Alright. How many of you now have anyone who has not read, who have taken part, okay, probably you don't have to answer this. Under the Kantavaka, the 5 aggregates, which we did, anyone who still could manage to do more than half? Okay, you were outside, right? You were coming from outside. Anyone who stayed inside here continuously and couldn't finish more than half Kantavaka? Sorry?
I'm inside.
Okay, and you couldn't finish more than half?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're working or what doing work?
But I don't understand, but I agree.
Yeah, that's okay. Did you do it more than half or less?
More than half.
That's what I mean. Not by understanding.
Yeah.
That you just read without understanding. Did you do like that? More than half?
Yeah.
That's okay. Close to the point where I told, or how much close to the point I told to read?
180.
Okay, which page did I tell you to read? Okay, on which number? 250.
Yeah.
180, 250.
Close to half.
Close to half that you read without understanding first.
Yeah.
Alright.
This is my first time.
No problem, no problem.
I'm never did any.
Okay.
This is my first time.
Alright, so other does it take all your time or did you do anything else meanwhile? Did you keep on reading or?
Keep on reading. No.
Try a little bit to understand. So, no? So,
Okay, my body.
doesn't matter. Then what about anyone else like that? Anybody? They have already more than half? Okay. Alright. What about Salayatan, the 6 sense organs? Where are you? Finished? Okay. Did you finish in the lunchtime or which time did you finish? Or just sometime before now? Morning. So did you read night or so? Is it something like that? Or? Huh? Okay, then okay. I don't want to finish so fast also. Okay. Otherwise, so now at least, after that what did you do? After the morning when you finished, what did you do? Start talking or sleeping?
Still reading.
Still reading, huh? Like taking, so then now you also have until tomorrow morning. Alright, now you can slowly contemplate something interesting. Alright? Who have finished like that. Others, if they are near the finish also, you can stop, no problem. Alright? Listen carefully, okay? Otherwise, these 5 days is very valuable, you spend your time. Alright? So now, this coming hours, you can relax in some places you have, but keep silent, keep alone. You see now when I'm coming, I can see this silent. I also enjoy it, unfortunately, I don't have too much like that now. I'm moving from place to place, giving the Dhamma. But I'm at once in tune with that environment, because it's a yogi's environment. not too much thoughts, not too much burdens in the mind, looking at the reality, contemplating. It is going to the truth and finishing this thing off, leaving this whole thing. Not getting involved with this, bodies and thoughts and feelings and all this. It is, even doing that is so blissful and it's like doing something really meaningful. Knowing that this is not meaning is a real meaningful thing. All other things is actually what to do. People, I'm sure from this retreat and just even coming in contact with this, you will get some kind of, some impulse towards that. Some people tell me a lot of things, all problems come because of our expectation and clinging. Now I also have to deal with a lot of external activities from ordained monks or pupils who have everything, and then also I'm looking after my parents for the last 3 years. My father passed away, so my mother also. So these things I'm doing through people. The Dayakas are doing that, but it's okay. I take it as a paramita for me. I will not take it as a burden. So from both different sides, all these things come now when I come here. So sometimes about the people who have ordained. So luckily, I have seen the solution not holding or clinging to anything. You can give a good answer or good suggestion, good way to do things. Clinging will all disrupt everything. Everybody might be shocked because all people are expecting clinging in some way. Youth Dayakas, they will cling, they will expect the monks to do some way. Sometimes who are really connected to me, I find they're also very unconditional. And surprisingly, not surprisingly, it's like it has become normal for me. Even who drop me into deep jungle and arrange everything and go, the army is surprised. This kind of people are there in Sri Lanka. They do exist. They have no expectation that, they're really advanced in that way. Because they have so much faith in the Buddha. Not maybe deep understanding, but faith is there. And they are doing it for, great Sangha and so on. So, even now I have to just suddenly face, so luckily, sometimes the way I take answers is my own idea there. Then I consult some few people still living in this world who can communicate to me some, the hidden structures of beings or some things that I need to consider. So this way I will take all that to count and then find an answer. So that's easy for me. Easy means I see then something good for that person. So like this I have to, so suddenly Dayakas also surprised maybe. I would, but I want to just get that good karma of, giving people some good way how to deal with things and make their life successful. And sometimes I never imagined to do those things, but I give up, I let go of my own ideas. And that's a very peaceful way and very easy way to try to control things. As a monk, what to control, you realize, or at least you're trying to realize more, this is not mine. And it's things as they come. So most of you, anyone of you also have read, if you have read the Salayatana, then try to take few and contemplate. Okay? You can little bit from the Kanda and little bit from the 6 sense organs, you can contemplate. Alright? Let me see. So I'm just going to give you some extra discourses.
Yes, our teacher here.
Please come. Sit on that. It's comfortable, and we are very grateful to giving this opportunity for us. You can sit on the. Please sit on the. This leg. Good. Okay. So this is like end of the retreat. Actually, this retreat I need at least 2 weeks. It's a 2-week retreat with my teacher when I was 23 years old. That made a big impact on my life. So, but what to do when I started this now to give to the public 2 years back? I had to make it 5 days as the most popular or the common. Anyone that more programs in 5 days, and 10 days we have made so that that effect can happen. Who can make time like that? But not many programs like 10 days, but 5 days or more. So I mix it up with, to be honestly, Buddha has also not told to rush through some of the teachings, but I tell some idea of the contemplation. The main key of this is actually the contemplation that will give you self-realization. These are popular words, that's why I'm telling like self-realization is something who we are or what we are, and whether there is a we here. So that is a question, and especially how the idea of I and kind of sense of I rises in our mind. So now I have explained already just in a small thing. If I tell, it's always related with feeling. And feeling is like a part of consciousness. It's a factor of consciousness. So Buddha actually tells the parts of consciousness. He's a master of consciousness. And he defined the whole universe as being conscious of anything. When there's unconsciousness, the world does not exist to each person. So when consciousness arises, then only that world is experienced. So he actually breaks down what happens in the consciousness. We feel, we perceive, and the way we perceive, we react. Very simple terms. So it's happening all the time. And consciousness is not like, it doesn't try to make a any place in the body or any location in the body. So now actually in the modern science and modern neuroscience, they're trying very much to relate with the parts of the brain and so on. So this is actually quite little opposite. The Buddha actually shows that it's a conditioned thing, like you have the organ, like the body part of the say I, and then you have a corresponding consciousness will arise by a type of stimulation that will come. So like, for example, it's like light or form. So like sound waves, for example, if you strike your eyeball, you don't hear from your eyes. So you don't see from your ears. So it's actually like the corresponding conditions when they are present, that particular consciousness arises. So there's eye consciousness, ear consciousness, like that. He separates these different types of consciousness we get. So we get the idea of ego or the self. To this, these are the only things that as a phenomena, certain things arise in the world. So where there's time also, there's measurement of time, there's a beginning, there's a continuation, and there's a disintegration. So other than these things, we can't measure time also. Okay, the body or the material parts of this existence, whatever made outside in the whole world, not in terms of electrons, they used to look at in terms of Panchabhuta, it's called the 5 elements. Hard nature, soft nature, like this. So that also is a purpose in the Buddha's teaching to separate, like there's no difference between, like for example, hard nature is more predominant, say to our bones or teeth and like that. So when you look at it mentally, where there's an exercise where we begin to see like the hard nature, what we call, because it's in our space, ours. When we take the bone, for example, we can see the hard nature, and then say the mic here or the table or the ground, the hard nature of the ground as a nature, when you take it, they're same. So watery nature, for example, or liquid nature, if you have like your blood and urine maybe, and then the water in the tap, and so on. So mentally you begin to really see, this is a wisdom part, especially with the related to the wisdom eye of the frontal cortex. Sometimes this old times, it was well known how to develop this particular eye, this awareness. So for that, Buddha also saw sensuality very disturbing or damaging for this eye to open up for the five senses, and which have more stronger. So that's why there's a process of disciplining and slowly making your brain or mind capable of like awakening a sleeping eye, the wisdom eye, slowly. So there's that level of disciplining of sense stimulation and so on. So today we have phones and everything. So I have told even before the retreat, because this is not just a knowledge of the teaching. There are a lot of, now we have universities, they study is really damaging these teachings, because this is actually, they will create visions. I think you all have practiced this the Zen way. There's a koan, I have heard. I have not gone through very deep teaching of it, but it's like he also, to an empty mind, without trying to understand, you will understand. It's like intuition. That's what we are trying to do. So these suttas are like small signposts for that, the spark to happen. That's why I tell people, don't try to understand. Just if you don't understand, skip to another sutta, and there will be a one that will trigger. Meanwhile, if you prepare your mind also, so maybe prepare your life, your character, your steadiness of your nerves. This is also kind of rocket science of liberation, of liberation from your impurities of your mind, defilements of your mind. So this is very important to prepare. So even sometimes you might not get a real, very impactful insight. So if you're enjoying meditation meanwhile, enjoying or experiencing stress-free, peaceful, you mastered it slowly. Now when I was walking also, I'm not used to talking and walking, because we are trained to just be in that present moment, observe it. And it looks so simple, but when we do it again and again, then we find peace coming to our mind. Why we are losing peace? Because we are too much thinking of something which is not existing, and in the past or the future. And this simple observation of when we are driving, just to feel the steering wheel or to feel the seat, this we are not doing. But if you are a yogi or a meditator, you'll be doing that. And then that will lead you to going inward through the more attention to the physical body. That's where you are actually traveling within, and within is an ocean of peacefulness. It's vast. So if you touch that, you will not. So we have to learn to balance it to do that. And when we have to think something outside, okay, then do that. And you will use more creative mind and sort of spontaneity to get even better solutions. You will perform better in those work that you have to perform outside. And then also you are preparing your life as a human being for greater experiences. We are not born just to eat, sleep and die. We are born to, experience certain, especially to know the secret of death. So that we will not die. This can happen actually when we dissociate from things that dies. It will not happen to us. So body is something that dies, consciousness also. All consciousness, rising of consciousness depends on a body. It can never rise in like free space or something. Like a robot can, if you can create a consciousness someone, then it's very nice then, because I can enjoy at Long Beach. I can remove my robes. And maybe not here, I like cricket, so I play cricket, good South Africa. Because I was in clubs playing this. If I gave up something for these robes, I don't think I had no girlfriend to give up, but I gave up cricket. Yeah. Cricket, yes. It was something really I sacrificed, I would say. So many years back, it's really we have this opportunity to somehow do this. So this building blocks of consciousness, because this is closest person I think in this part of the world who explains consciousness and also argues and explains with the scientists of neuroscience. He's a neuroscientist. Actually, he himself is a scientist, so he has the authority to do that. Deepak Chopra. So it's based on the old wisdom of the ancient Indian sages, because they already knew about consciousness quite well. Before to the Buddha also, because they already knew, and also how consciousness is related with karma. That's a very important mechanism there. That totally explains rebirth and all that. Rebirth means the possibility, how the death moment and how what will happen after death moment. Otherwise, there's no way of knowing this. So how it's related with even what we are doing right now, and so very important. So this Deepak Chopra explains about nicely. It's a simple this thing. But how consciousness arises, the root cause, the actual final cause of it arising. This is in Buddhism, Buddha's teachings, everywhere you have seen something, the wheel of life. So it's called the wheel of life. In the Tibetan also they show the wheel of life. It is a big thing actually. But I don't know how many of any persons really know what this is. You have initially the ignorance, one part. Ignorance is the cause of reaction. It's called karma. And reaction, not any type of reaction, it is just reaction with intention. So intention takes place, you have to perceive something as like now in moment of consciousness, you have immediately a sensation, and then you judge or measure that conscious feeling, that sensation. Sensation is feeling, okay? That's a very different, so what you measure is called perception. Okay? When you measure it as pleasant, or unpleasant or neutral. These three ways you measure in general, okay, with what happens. So then there's the reaction. If you perceive as pleasant, there's the reaction with greed. If it's perceived as unpleasant, you react with aversion, hate. And if it's neutral perception, you perceive it as neutral, then it will be delusion. If you're not enlightened or fully aware of what is going on. So this reaction is what's called karma. So with greed only you get that intention. So if you think, it becomes a mental karma. If you talk with that, it will become word karma. But that has retribution and nature's law work. There's a nature law like that. So and that brings the type of consciousness we get in the future. The conditions will be brought for that consciousness to arise. Type of stimulation that will come from outside, and type of organs you will have. This is a very interesting technology of how it works, this whole process, and then how we will be reacting again. So that what we are experiencing now actually shows what we were in the past. So now in the Western culture, actually it's not easy, who are brought up here, and I don't think even in Eastern people, sometimes they blindly think everything is karma, everything is this thing. Not enough research is done. Even Buddha would not agree for one to just blindly accept him. So I see in this part of the world, Edgar Cayce, many mansions. It's a very good proof, and I got to know from this monk, Virginia State University, Virginia, there's an entire school researching about reincarnation, rebirth. He said he will send it to the Nepali.
He sent it to me, sir.
But I have to see how they are researching. But Edgar Cayce is very, I have read it before, it's very interesting that he goes to an unconscious state. He was called the miracle man of Virginia. But he had a lot of these case studies where people from all over states used to come and who had no solution from any other way for their problems. And then he goes back to some of the issues, some problems, like Crusaders' time, Jesus' time, what we experienced, why we are now behaving like that. So this is very, it's interesting. It's interesting, and he talks about karma. Sometimes migraine, where you like Crusaders' time, you were one. My teacher, it happened with my teacher. he said he had a migraine for so many years, and he to tell me sometimes about Edgar Casey. Yes, and that when he had this migraine, he became vegetarian for that reason also initially, to work on it. And then one didn't go away. So as a monk later on, when he was practicing and purifying his mind more, suddenly there's a voice like it came like, look, now look. And then suddenly he had a kind of a vision where there was a soldier jumping from like a wall and like a crusader, the old thing, and giving a big knock on this somebody, and then he felt that pain, and then he just woke up, like a half dream or I don't know what it is. So then after that migraine went up after this vision and experience, and then he tells me that that soldier was he was the soldier in the previous life. I mean, in that particular life. So some karma, some problems also don't get resolved until you see the cause. So until your system is prepared to see the cause, you will not get these experiences. So very interesting. Very interesting is to tell me like this. We have some diseases, how much we do is not going away. There's still the karma reason behind it. Today I told these topics because I wanted to. I have told them before. I felt like something to share. I always tell. Actually, even before I was telling, this is like a Muslim Buddhism, not a real Muslim Islam. They are very good, very wonderful. But that's like here when I first came, I felt it's all only Sri Lankan people here. And I'm going all the way from Sri Lanka to America to meet Sri Lanka people. I said, they have to have, now I don't know, this time, I don't know, somebody told me, but they have been asking, so we have little Sri Lanka. I said, no, I want all people like one. Now Sri Lanka, they're not there much. Today there is. So, problem is the way they publicize, so maybe the temples, and they are also used to being there. There has to be, of course, this cannot be done by, there has to be some practicing and some mystical thing has to be awakened. Then it becomes universal. So, this cannot be transmitted like that also, because, of course, the Sri Lankan people, blindly, they will follow everything. But others, they need some taste of it, It can come only if that taste is becoming live or, it won't happen otherwise. Even for Sri Lanka, the local people, they will not awaken to the real thing. They are doing their cultural thing. Like even I didn't see in my mother's Buddhism, those days there's any answers for, of course she gave me a nice example that she used to meditate too. But she's the one who got to know from me to go to the original suttas and not like a study to meditate. And then because in Sri Lanka this was not really done or known, even now known, it's a very hard work for me, tell you, but I'm very happy that at least. People get some, they're getting the books and not just reading, know to apply, and then they're awakening the old path. And page number 339. Okay, but
The symbol is on 362.
362.
for this one.
Single is 362. We don't have some extra books, no? That's 2 bedroom. 3. What were they? Similar. Come on, you can listen because it's a matter. You will hear when I'm. It's a matter. It's a matter. G39, English. The great discourse on the simile of the elephant's footprint. This was told by Buddha's second the disciple, second to the Buddha, who was Sariputta, in wisdom. So he was like. He's the one person who, when he has heard the first simple verse as a layperson, just the beginning of the verse, Ye Dhamma Hetupabhava. That means whatever arises by causes, just that. It's a long, second verse is there. Ye Dhamma Hetupabhava, Tesang Hetu Tathagata, Tesancha Yo Nirodho, Evam Vadi Mahasana. Ye Dhamma Hetupabhava means like any phenomena that arise by cause. Their causes and their, that's the second line of the verse. Yedama Hetva, Desa Hetu Tathagata. The causes are told by the Tathagata, the master, and the cessation of the 4 lines. Desancha Mahashamana, Desam Vadi Mahashamana. Mahashamana is the great master. The words are this. This was told by one of the disciples, early disciples of the Buddha, to this destined, you could say, being or human being who is going to be the second to Buddha's wisdom. It's going to be second. When he was coming from far, when Buddha saw, he said, he actually went and told his friend also. Both of them came, and he said, when they were coming afar, they told, they are my chief disciples are coming. Because they already were destined to become so. So when he first heard from one, because first he saw, I don't know whether you saw it, first he saw a great, like very peaceful, very calm in bearing a monk going Armstrong. So he was searching for truth himself. So actually 2 friends, so one went on another way and he said, we go separate way, whoever finds some truth or some great master, we come and share. Then the other one on this way, he suddenly saw this great one monk who looked so peaceful. He thought maybe he has known the truth. Maybe he has, so he followed him. And then when he approached him, of course, after his arm round and said, I'm just newly ordained. I can't explain much, I can't teach you. So whatever way you know, please can you tell me anything, Then only he says, Ye Dhamma Hetupabhava, Tesang Hetu Tathagata, Tesancha Yo Nirodho, Evam Vadi Mahasana. This is the teachings of the great teacher, of when Buddha was alive, in the beginning times. Alright? So, then when the first verse was told, Ye Dhamma Hetupabhava, that whatever phenomena arises by cause, discourse, he got the eye of wisdom eye. Virajang Gitamala, Dhamma Chakmu Udapadi. Virajang Gitamala means, Viraja means dispassionate, Gitamala means completely free from any impurities. That's why we have to become somewhat pure to get this wisdom. It's not coming to anyone, we have to change our character, change our being, our general life, to more tranquil life and steady mind. And so, give when this was told, then he got it. The other part in this is Yamkinchi Samudaya Dhamma. So, eye of the Dhamma, when it appears, there's a verse or a line that comes to express that realization. Yamkinchi Samudaya Dhamma, Sabbantan Rohu Dhamma. Whatever phenomenon, whatever rises, definitely passes away. So it's actually the impermanent perception. Impermanent perception. Not just it's not an awareness of a universal impermanence. Of whatever condition that arises and passes away. Then brings dispassion in the mind, and then the experience of Nibbana. Nibbana is a state of complete silence. That's how you can explain it. So, this is a sutta told by this disciple, Sariputta. Maharatana said, thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Savasati in Jetaguru, Anantapindika Park. There the Venerable Sariputta addressed the bhikkhus thus, friends, bhikkhus, friends, they replied. The Venerable Sariputta said this, friend, just as the footprint of any living being that walks can be placed within an elephant's footprint, and so the elephant's footprint is declared the chief of them. Because of its great size, so too, all wholesome states can be included in the Four Noble Truths. In what four? The Noble Truth of Suffering, the Noble Truth of Origin of Suffering, the Noble Truth of the Cessation of Suffering. And in the Noble Truth of the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And what is the Noble Truth of suffering? Birth is suffering, age is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Not to obtain what one wants is suffering. In short, the five aggregates affected by clinging are suffering. And what are the five aggregates affected by clinging? They are the material form aggregate affected by clinging, the feeling aggregate affected by clinging, the perception aggregate affected by clinging, the formations aggregate affected by clinging, and the consciousness aggregate affected by clinging. So all this feeling, perception, all that, they are in consciousness. Okay? This is told last, the consciousness aggregate. This is what we are made up of. You know that, right? So birth, how do you notice birth? When these five things appear. Alright? This is a great miracle, the birth actually. Okay? These five things, you cannot create it otherwise. Just this happened, this manifest from thin air. Of course, there are conditions, the mother's, the father's, the other part, the consciousness, the life, where does it come? That's where the consciousness, when it enters, there is that. It means it's conditioned arising. It's not something coming from somewhere to the other. When we know the exact how it arises by causes, the causes are present, therefore the consciousness rises. Alright, that's one deep thing. Last time I explained about the moment of death, how the consciousness, last consciousness, and then how when the conditions are there, how it appears. And that is the one that gets another somewhere to appear. Based on what karmas you have done, the type of consciousness you will get. So this one you see, so this is our suffering as in life. Birth is suffering, decay, old age, no one wants to become old or sick. These things happen. And death also happens. So these things happen to these five things. So that's why in short, and what are the five grades affected by? They are the material form aggregate and so on. Affected by clinging, by the formation affected by clinging. So in here it explains birth is suffering, aging is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Not to obtain what one wants is suffering. In short, the five aggregates affected by clinging are suffering. Okay? So then it goes down. He explains what are the five aggregates and what is the material aggregate. Now he breaks down, takes one from the five. It's a very different way of explaining. And what are the what is the this is actually one of my first discourses that I read in this life. When my teacher told you go and read Satipatthana, get Satipatthana Sutta, I actually got this small booklet form, the BPS. And those days also I had the habit of applying, not just reading intellectually. That's what I said, how I applied this when my auntie shouted at me. So to see that the experience was not real. So it was like you have to make it a perception. So that delusion, this is the one related to wisdom. So when you contemplate and it becomes part of your way of perceiving, that's a meditation we have to achieve. So that's why we read and walk and contemplate, think about it and relate to us. And then in real life, with that wisdom, whatever level you have that perception, you definitely have an effect that will reduce your reaction. Not that you're pretending to be, if you're fully aware, then you don't react at all. But at least it should reduce slowly. So more you associate this, more you get that clarity of wisdom, vision, you will react less. There's nothing to react too much. React with anger, greed, delusion. What is the material form affected by clinging? It is the four great elements and the material form derived from the four great elements. And what are the four great elements? They are the earth element, the water element, and the fire element, and the air element. Okay, it's taken like this now. What, friends, is the earth element? The earth element may be either internal or external. What is the internal earth element? Whatever internally belonging to oneself. So I told you I'm sure you know, by now, when you're reading this, you relax, you make your body comfortable, and look at yourself like from outside, and then what you're reading, you learn to apply to watch yourself, what must relate it to your actual experiences. And what, friends, is the earth element? The earth element may be either internal or external. What is the internal earth element? Whatever internally belonging to oneself is solid, solidified, and clung to. That is head, hairs, body hairs, nails. So you have to visualize that. Because that hard nature is more predominant in these body parts. Nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews. If you're properly visualizing it, that means without rushing, just noting, without noting, if you're really looking into you, you will also notice your in-breath and out-breath. Not that you specially try to notice the in-breath and out-breath, because you are that much relaxed and in the present moment when you are reading and applying. If that's not happening, then it's like an intellectual just noting like some information. That's how some meditation objects actually. And bones, the bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, mesentery, contents of the stomach, feces, or whatever else internally belonging to oneself is solid. So it should be actually when you're reading, you stop and actually do the exercise of you actually noting and perceiving in imagination form of those parts within you. Belonging to oneself is solid, solidified, and clung to. This is called the internal earth element. Now both the internal earth element and the external earth element are simply the earth element. This is where you are trying to get wisdom, to see the final true nature without the conceptualizing. So when you consider the hard nature within you, and the hard nature of the table or the ground or whatever, just think of it in a very subtle way, like you have to relax and just go to and fro to your own body part and then to the outside. And if you're properly doing it, you will just see it like same, as well as that idea that is mine will dissolve, will vanish. The ego is created by that concept, that these are using whatever body you are having and not looking, observing like that, only you get the idea, this body is mine. So when you do like that, the true nature is seen. You don't see a person, you begin to dissolve that idea of a person or entity or your own, that you are there, somebody is there. Belonging to oneself is solid, solidified and clung to. This is called the internal earth element. Now both the internal earth element and the external earth element are simply earth element. And that should be seen as it really is with proper wisdom. Thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. So these things cannot be practiced who have a lot of attachments. You have to reduce your attachments and desires to some extent to do this exercise also. Buddha would not give this kind of teaching when the being or a person is not prepared enough. It will not make sense to the person. So at all sometimes. So when you are visualizing and practicing, you will become more desirous. That means you will notice it tangibly too. How? When you are reading now and applying, you will find a more lightness entering your mind and body. That lightness is in the right direction. Because there is that invisible clinging you have that will start to reduce. And you will feel more restful. That's how we should be reading these suttas. So I know something else also happened. More you become calm and peaceful, your body chemistry also begins to change. Your body chemistry, your biology or whatever, the hormones and everything, will also start to change. And your appearances also start to change. More angry, more greedy, more this thing. You will not become more beautiful. More peaceful, more these things. I have told this in programs just to encourage you all in that direction. Alright? So now both the internal earth element and the external earth element are simply the. So now when one sees it thus as it actually is, with proper wisdom one becomes disenchanted with the earth element and makes the mind dispassionate towards the earth element. Now there comes a time, now Sariputta, he is using very interesting. He's first now doing this. Now he's doing all the practices like put in this sutta. He's trying to get you the impermanent perception also. Now we go to the next one. Now there comes a time when the water element is disturbed and then the external earth element vanishes. When even the external earth element, great as it is seen to be impermanent. Now he's telling like when there floods and it covers the entire earth and suddenly, so the earth element is also impermanent, he's trying to show that way, and subject to destruction, disappearance and change. What of this body which is clung to by craving? So even that great earth element is going to disappear. Then what to say about the little earth element we have in our body? That's a very, so that gives you a quick this has to perish, this has to vanish. When even the external earth element, great as it is, seen to be impermanent, subject to destruction, disappearance and change, what of this body which is clung to by craving and lasts just a while? There can be no considering that as I or mine or I am. So then, if others abuse, revile, scold and harass a bhikkhu who has seen this element as it actually is, he understands thus this painful feeling born of ear contact has arisen in me that is dependent, not independent. That is, whatever painful feeling you will arise, it is in consciousness, but it depends on the ear and the sound waves, for example. Okay? So the ear is part of this hard nature. Now we are relating to the initially, now that even this great earth has to disappear. So hard nature is very much with our ear. Okay? So ear, small heart, very small part, then that ear has to be impermanent. Then whatever feeling we are getting has to be also impermanent. This is like, this is a kind of wisdom you have to awaken where you're already seeing things are bound to pass away. Like once Ajahn Chah, you got to know, he was questioned, like, you have this to like nice, or they saw that he seemed to like this nice, glasses and all that, which decorated or ornamented and so on. So they thought he had this attachment to this cups, glass cups. Then he suddenly told, when one devotee questioned him, he said, they are broken. Yeah, they are broken. So just to convey that in his vision, it is broken. For him, it's not seeing as a glass, it's already broken. He is already in the perception of impermanence of it. So like this kind of awareness you are developing, a wisdom. So when you have to get used to this very different type of thinking, way of looking. And it's as I see these teachings, actually, you have to really relax, free from all these other things, and just thinking generally about life. Something like this. In a very contemplative way. Then only this kind of thing can really go into you. So it's a really, so then when you have realized like that, when you have an experience like that, you're not just seeing impermanence in this just right now or something. You have already seen it, and you're already, the whole consciousness is pervaded with that awareness. And then that detachment will be already there inside you. So that is dependent, not independent. Dependent on what? Dependent on contact. Then he sees that contact is impermanent. Okay? That feeling is impermanent. That perception is impermanent. That formations are impermanent. And that consciousness is impermanent. And his mind, having made an element its object, enters into a new objective support and acquires confidence, steadiness, and resolution. How if others attack that bhikkhu in ways that are unwise, for undesired and disagreeable by contact with fist, rods, sticks, or knives. He understands thus this body is of such a nature that contact with fist, rods, sticks, and knives are safe. But this has been said by the Blessed One. That means by the Buddha. One time he has advised on the simile of the saw. Now actually, in this, there's another discourse Buddha says, because even if bandits were to sever you savagely limb by limb with a two-handled saw, he who gave rise to the mind of hate towards them would not be carrying out my teaching. He has advised like that. He has said that if bandits catch you and they use a saw and cut your leg, if you have even a trace of anger or, anything with you, you're not a follower of mine. But when they are cutting from inside your heart, you have loving kindness, then we are supposed to be disciples of the Buddha. So by carrying, so he telling to remember this. So tireless energy rise to the mind of hate towards them would not be carrying out my teaching. Okay, because even if bandits were to sever you savagely, limb by limb, with a two-handled saw, he who gave rise to a mind of hate towards them would not be carrying out my teaching. So tireless energy shall be aroused in me, and unremitting mindfulness established. So there's another way if somebody is cutting you like that. You can really watch and see that the feeling is not me, the flesh is not me. So I know people are not cutting their leg when husband has been scolding the wife, or the wife is scolding the husband. They have seen, one of the ladies, she told me, how she has used this sutta to see that there's elements and consciousness depends on the body which is not yours, and when they were shouting, she has not shouted back or she didn't feel much. So this is very good, and not only for just shouting, to do some attachment to these people around you. Otherwise, I've explained that when you get attached only, you feel irritated and you're making karma all the time. And when you make karma like that, then the moment of death, based on that, you will get the last thought. Okay? I told you so. All this, while we are living, we must do in working places, bosses, colleagues. So all that we have to replace this practically, so that naturally your reaction will be less, and you will have a pleasant time, and the people around you also will get that good vibration, and they will also start to change. But if you pretend you are not angry, internal anger goes like vibration, and people feel it, they sense it. Okay, there's no purity in it, so there's no mystical force in it. But if you have real compassion, it can create something. I have so many experiences about this. Sometimes even with my certain brother monks, like I was very young monk, and some of them, they didn't want to follow some of the things. So they love me, they all like me, but some, older than me age-wise. So sometimes, when they're offering something, I don't know, is this recorded, right? You can delete this, right? Later. It's not nice about some people. Yeah. So, just this part. Is it messed up going live, right?
No, not live. It goes to Kanahu and then they.
So suddenly, when they're just coming near, it's sort of so this, with animals, they will feel, they will sense the vibration. So they also frightened, that's one thing. So if you can remain once with the elephant also, I remember so many occasions where the people do feel, even people very much, they will sense it. So if you're sincere and actually have good wishes, intentions, people will definitely feel. So, depending on that consciousness is impermanent. Now if others attack, so tireless energy shall be arousing me, and unremitting mindfulness established. My body shall be tranquil and untroubled, my mind concentrated and ununified. And now let contact with fists, rods, sticks, and knives assail this body, for this teaching of the Buddhas is being practiced. When that bhikkhu thus recollects, now there's another method he tells. Now he gives a lot of techniques also. When that bhikkhu thus recollects the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, this is also another practice where you should get calmness. It's like Buddhanusati. If equanimity supported by like the Buddha was here, how I react. If you just recall like that, you should get a special energy. Okay? If you don't get, you should be worried about that. You don't care, or you are not much paid. Alright? So, equanimity supported by the wholesome does not become established in him. Then he arouses the urgency thus. It is lost for me, it is not a gain for me, it is bad for me, it is not good for me, that when I thus recollect the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, equanimity, supported by the wholesome, does not become established in me. Just as when a daughter-in-law sees her father-in-law, she arouses a sense of urgency to please him. So too, when the bhikkhu thus recollects the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, if equanimity supported by the wholesome does not come established in him, then he arouses a sense of urgency. But if when he recollects the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, equanimity supported by the wholesome becomes established in him, then he is satisfied with it. At that point, friends, much has been done by that bhikkhu. That means a gain for him. He was able to control his mind and keep the thoughts pure by simply recalling the Master and the Dhamma and the Sangha. So then it goes to the water element. What, friends, is the water element? The water element may be either internal or external. What is the internal water element? Whatever internally belongs to oneself is water, watery and clung to. That is bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, spittle, snot, oil of the joints, urine, or whatever else internally belong to oneself is water, watery and clung to. This is called the internal water element. Now both the internal water element and the external water element are simply water element. And that should be seen as it actually is with proper wisdom. Thus, this is not mine. This I am not. So whether the water in the tap, it's an exercise you have to do. Whether the water originating the blood, maybe the urine, especially the urine when it goes into the toilet there, it mixes with the water. You see, while it was in our body, you thought it's my urine. When it went inside, so it's actually a mental idea, a concept. It's not really true. It doesn't. It's our mind made. This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. When one sees it thus as it actually is with proper wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with the water element and makes the mind dispassionate toward the water element. Now there comes a time where the external water. This is a nice way of looking at the impermanence. Now there comes a time when the external water element is disturbed. It carries away villages, that is floods. Okay, I think Las Vegas had a lot of floods. No? I don't know. Was this like Las Vegas? Texas. And Las Vegas for some time, right? I've heard, I don't know. Villages, towns, cities, districts, and countries. There comes a time when the waters in the great ocean sink down 100 leagues, 200 leagues, 300 leagues, 400 leagues, 500 leagues, 600 leagues, 700 leagues. There comes a time when the waters in the great ocean stand 7 palm deep. That means after a long period. This will also happen. 6 palm deep, 2 palm deep, only a palm deep. There comes a time when the waters in the great ocean stand 7 fathoms deep, 6 fathoms deep, 2 fathoms deep, only a fathom deep. There comes a time when the waters in the great ocean stands half a fathom deep, only waist deep, only knee deep, only ankle deep. There comes a time when the water in the great ocean are not enough to wet even the joint of a finger. When even this external water element, great as it is, seem to be impermanent, subject to destruction, disappearance and change. What of this body, which is come to by clinging, craving and lasts but a while? There can be no considering that as I or mine or I am. It's repeated the other thing, so I'm not going to repeat just the exercises. So let's see. That's the internal interesting part. Okay, here. Page number 342. Friend, just as when space is enclosed by, this is the last paragraph in that, 342. Last, like 26, it is like 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, and 342. The last paragraph, not last, the one before last. Okay, friends, just as when a space is enclosed by timber and creepers, grass and clay, it comes to be termed just house. So too, when a space is enclosed by bones, sinews, flesh and skin, it comes to be termed just material form. Okay? So after practicing, contemplating those 4 elements, this is explained. This is to be also known and contemplated. So your mind loses hold of the body as you, and so on. The illusion for that purpose. If friends, internally the eyes, now this is also important explanation of consciousness, of its condition. Okay? It follows next. If friends, internally the eyes intact, but no external forms come into its range, and there is no corresponding conscious engagement, then there is no manifestation of the corresponding section of consciousness. If internally the eye is intact and external forms come into its range, but there is no corresponding conscious engagement, then there is no manifestation of the corresponding section of consciousness. But when internally the eye is intact and external forms come into its range, and there is the corresponding conscious engagement, then there is the manifestation of the corresponding section of consciousness. Now, this is the most important, it shows the conditioned nature of consciousness and exactly how consciousness arises. Okay? It needs an object, we have told before actually, and the organ, and there's that initial attention. Okay, that's the rising of the initial thing of consciousness to rise. With that only, these three have to be there. Okay, then only that corresponding consciousness, if it's related with the eye consciousness will arise. If it's connected with the ear, it will be the ear consciousness. Okay, the material form in what has thus come to be is included in the material form aggregate affected by clinging. What is the material part of this experience of consciousness? It's the eye and forms, ear and sound waves, nose and smell. Okay, they are the material part. Okay, so that is included in that that material aggregate. All right. The feeling, what has thus come to be. So in one moment of conscious moment, you note it that whatever material that was the nose and the smell that was used is the material part. And say, for example, the initial consciousness, okay, recognizing it as like a sensation that will go immediately, maybe like a certain perfume. All right. So that is a sensation, and recognizing it or judging it as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral will be perception. And when you reacting, if it's nice with greed, will be the reacting part. So this will be very simultaneously arising. These are the factors of consciousness. You can't have a conscious moment without feeling, perception, and so on. Okay, the Buddha explained that. So it's always these 4 factors will be there in a moment of consciousness. You have a feeling. That's how you know it's consciousness. Okay, and then there is perception of the feeling, and there is you can't have like only perception ever. No, you can't have never in. You can have just a feeling only. Yes.
Can I have a question? So there's a consciousness also coming from formations, coming from influence. So that consciousness doesn't have contact before it. So I was wondering if that consciousness is different.
You mean the last one, like it's like feeling, perception,
so
and consciousness.
That's a different type of consciousness.
No. Yeah, it's actually the thing is when you are explaining, you have to tell it in order.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're writing it, you have to say it in order. But it is like as I told you, like last time in water, you have different minerals. All right. Same way in a moment of consciousness, you have very specific, different functions, different parts. That's why what is connected with feeling is feeling. It's called feeling. And perception is called perception. And reaction or mental formation, that's called that. Then consciousness is all in all of it. You understand? It's like it's like consciousness all to like. It's in every. It's a kind of function. So normally it is also explained like you have here an object. The initial like something happened. That is consciousness, as like initial consciousness. And then immediately there is sensation in it, And that's where it becomes really, consciousness appears. You can't really pinpoint like that. It happens so fast, and you can never know by. You are not supposed to know like that because it can never be known. Like you recognize this. There's no instrument to know like that. Okay, but Buddha's great Buddhahood, he has the ability to break the parts and tell like that. There's one place it is said like you get water from a ocean to separate the water, that this certain molecules of water is from the Ganges, certain water is from there. Like that separating, impossible thing the Buddha has done to show like that.
So I have another question. So in the 12 links, so the first is ignorance, and the second formation sense, 3 is consciousness, right? So that you already have consciousness there. And then the fourth is mental and material, but also in the mental there you also include volition, that's include formation. So that 4 is also kind of include 2, which is also formations. And 3 is consciousness, right? But then later on you'll have more consciousness after contact. So I think the name, material, and sixfold and contact, they kind of happen together, right?
This is different ways of looking at the same phenomena.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like this way, it is like because of ignorance you have reaction. Reaction is karma, and karma is the main cause of consciousness to arise. Because the conditions are created by karma. The conditions are a stimulation from externally and the organ, type of organ you get. Okay, without this and the way you get distracted, the initial attention, because we have karma there. Okay, so that is why karma is the main cause for consciousness. And if in the consciousness you will have name and form and so on. Just, you must be, I told you that Sammaditthi Sutta, the right view sutta, that explains the components.
Yeah. Just
for your contemplation, like main thing you should know is like not to know pinpointedly which is which, to know that this is causing this. If this is not there, this will not arise. The cause and effect link to contemplate is the important thing. Okay, so if you don't react, you will not get consciousness. Because karma won't be there and consciousness cannot arise. Like that, that is the purpose of this. It's not something that how much you'll explain what it is, sankharas, or this is some limited, the knowledge is okay for that. But then you should know it's happening now all the time in us, just to know this is conditioning this, and if this condition is not there, this will arise. So just for your contemplation, so it's an impermanent, like a fluid condition thing. So the cause will always be also changing. Just to observe that, to become awakened. But the actual experience of that is very, very more. So you have to go as a yogi. You have to come more, direct your mind to the present moment, be in the present moment, and get that tranquil mind. Then they will make a big. I told you they will create a vision. Just the jatipacha, for example, birth is the cause of decay and death. That simple word is not the exact experience. The wisdom experience is, you can't explain. It goes to an unthinkable or infinite area of, I don't know to call it with this perception or what, but you see, you can't explain it. If someone is explaining, he has not realized it for sure. So it is this very explanation. That's why you have to get more bodily mindful practices also, and then just keep it there, and just don't think and now I don't read this back. Keep reading and this thing, then it will make, like as I said, without trying to understand, there will be a wow experience. You have some patience. Right? I hope you all remember all this. Don't try to understand and all these things. This is the way you will get it one day. And I think you have got these ideas about that this time. I hope so. That this cannot be known intellectually as well. It's a meditation object, and it will create intuitive. You have to activate the intuitive So even my teacher will not sit down and talk too much of this. He had told to read and go, and then we go, and then so it's a kind of yogis practicing, and then he goes to a level of actually realizing this. So today onwards, all of you have read so much, so until tomorrow morning, you can do a little bit contemplating. Okay, now you can take some interesting suttas and try you can do whatever you like. You want to sleep, but please continue not talking, try to be alone. Especially being like this for now several days, you can get something. Okay, but as I told you, it means at least for me, I was 14 days, no people, just meeting my teacher every 2 days, and then going alone. So not even enjoying the nature also. Just by compassion, internally blissful feelings only. That helps a lot. And you have more mindfulness of the present, of the body, postures when you're going, coming. All this done can really give you something. It's very subtle, very subtle. It's not something like a very, if your mind is too gross, it's not easy. You not go get those, at least a glimpse of those things. And I created this retreat, and later on who are repeating it, who have ordained already now, they have this, suddenly, because they are exposed suddenly when they are going to the dhanashala, or the food refectory dining hall. Just going there suddenly, so I can see tears come. It's in that right direction, because that's why I said, it's not you're putting in a certain situation now, it is coming from a silent zone of your consciousness, a type of consciousness. This wisdom will come from a silent, so that's why you must physically stay also in silence. Also you have to make your thoughts also silent. That's why you sit down time to time with compassion meditation to silence it further and be inward. Then things start to happen without struggling, trying to understand and all that. It will just come automatically. And going refuge to the Buddha time to time is the master who is going to open up to you. Otherwise you have to be like him who got it on his own. So the material form in what has thus come to be is included in the material form aggregate, affected by clinging. The feeling in what has thus come to be is included in the feeling aggregate, affected by clinging. The perception in what has thus come to be is included in the perception aggregate, included by clinging. The formations in what has thus come to be are included in the formation aggregate, affected by clinging. The consciousness in what has thus come to be is included in the consciousness aggregate by clinging. He understands thus, this indeed is how there comes to be the inclusion, gathering and amazing of things into these 5 aggregates affected by clinging. Now this has been said by the Blessed One. Very interesting, Sariputta Maharata, the great disciple, is showing his wisdom. Now this has been said by, in short form is giving now this has been said by the Blessed One. One who sees dependent origination sees the Dhamma. One who sees the Dhamma sees dependent origination. And these 5 aggregated affected by clinging are dependently arisen. The desire, indulgence, inclination and holding based on these 5 aggregates affected by clinging is the origin of suffering. Now, you see, these 5 aggregates are neutral themselves, okay? But they have the nature of stimulating desire in you, correct? Or craving. So the suffering is not in these 5 aggregates. It's the desire you allow to, so you can remove the desire and you can remove suffering. So here, desire, indulgence, inclination, but in LA when we talk about this, it will be not very digestible, right? Because it's a line of to tell that desiring is not too good, but there will be people who will say from maybe that's also a very special thing. The desire, indulgence, inclination and holding based on these five aggregates affected by clinging is the origin of suffering. The removal of desire and lust, the abandonment of desire and lust for these five aggregates affected by clinging is the cessation of suffering. At that point too, friends, much has been done by that bhikkhu. Actually, this lady yesterday, she told about experience of that like sun for a plant, when there's sun and all these other conditions, it grows. So I think she felt that some of the teachings are what we are practicing. It's like taking away the sun, taking away the water, taking away all these things that nourishes these impurities actually, defilements of our mind and the causes of suffering in our mind. So when those are taken away, then this suffering dies. Okay? So this is very good. It's very similar to that idea. Okay? So this is the cause of it, and you remove the cause. I'm talking about Manual කියපු කාරණාව ගැන. මම ඉංග්‍රීසි තේරුම් ගත්තේ මම දන්නේ නැහැ.
සමහර ඒවා තේරෙනවා.
ඒ හොඳ කරුණක් කියලා මම කිව්වේ. මේ කරුණට සමාන කරුණක් තමයි අනේ පව ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ඔක්කොක්වත් තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නෙමෙයි. අර සිංහල කට්ටියක් ඉස්සරගෙන එන්න අනිත් පාරේ.
ඒක තමයි සමින්හන්ගේ ආරාධනා කරන්න ඕනේ සිංහල කට්ටිය.
හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලෝ විතර කියලා කියන්න එපා. කොහොමද ගේන්නේ හැමතැනින් චීන කට්ටිය ජපානි.
ඔව් ඒක
කාබිලි.
කාබිලි.
Anglo-Saxon. I'm trying to bring all types of people to the program next time. So I told about Anglo-Saxon also and African, everybody. Okay. Yes, I'm not joking about this actually. Because this is not, you must see all like one family. Okay? Really.
Yeah.
And I not, my heart doesn't go like this. The desire, indulgence and inclination and holding based on these five aggregates affected by clinging, it's the origin of suffering. The removal of desire and lust, the abandonment of suffering, and lust for these five aggregates affected by clinging, is the cessation of suffering. At that point too, much has been done by that bhikkhu. Okay? If friends, internally the mind is intact, so this is repeated like that. Okay. Good luck to you. All best wishes.
See you soon.
Okay. The material form in what has thus come to be is included in the material form aggregate, affected by clinging. The feeling in what has thus come to be is included in the feeling aggregates affected by clinging. The perception in what has thus come to be, Hari. Sir, how many are there? Program එකට ආවද ඒකට තමයි ගිය පාරනේ
නෑ මේසේ
මේ පාර ගිය පාර ආවේ
එනකම් බලන්න අනුරාධපුරේ
වනසේ ඒකට ආවද
අපි හිතුවේ බයින්න
ආතක දෙන්නේ දෙන්නයි තමයි මම ඉදී මම ඉවරයි හැබැයි දැන් අදින් ඉවරයි හැබැයි ඒක මොකද අනිත් වඩිවන්නේ අනිත්නේ උදේ වඩි ටිකට් තමයි අන්තිම දවස ඒක අර උදේ අපොඩි මේක කියලා කියනවා The formations in what has thus come to be are included in the formation aggregates affected by clinging. The consciousness in what has thus come to be is included in the consciousness aggregate affected by clinging. He understands that this indeed is how there comes to be the inclusion, gathering, and amassing of things into these 5 aggregates affected by clinging. Now this has been said by the Blessed One. One who sees dependent origination sees the Dhamma. One who sees the Dhamma sees dependent origination. And these 5 aggregates affected by clinging are dependent horizon. The desire, indulgence, inclination, and holding based on these 5 aggregates affected by clinging is the origin of suffering. The removal of desire and lust, the abandonment of desire and lust for these 5 aggregates affected by clinging is the cessation of suffering. At that point, too, friends, much has been done by that people. Okay, so that sutta is finished. So now I'm going to last one, we call the parachute jump. You want to hear the parachute jump? All are there who has been here 4 days or how many days? All are there, right? Okay. So there's another one, but you read it on your own, okay, when you have time. 367 page. You read that on your own, alright? Nandokavada Sutta. Just read it to understand, don't read fast or whatever.
207.
The Sinhalese, English it is 367,
207.
in the Sinhalese is 407. Nandaka Vada Sutta. Read that on your own, okay? This one is like, when I'm not there, okay? Later when you are alone, you can read. Now, just note it. Last page 34, the parachute jump. You know why I name it parachute jump? This is how the commandos, they're always on training, they're training constantly. So one of their missions and training are together. One is actually a mission where they'll be put jump from parachute. So they have to make it out, do the thing and come out. Alright, so it's like this for me personally, this is a very important, all this teaching has been done to prepare you for this. Okay, what is your final mission? Yes, you attain it, but
So the power for now.
okay, and also not to be born. Okay, so where is your battlefield for that to happen? At what moment of your life?
Death.
Yes, moment of death. So this discourse was given to given by my teacher, the last instructions of the sutras, and it was under one heading. He used to have sutras compiled under headings. He had his own writing, in notebooks. He's wondering, yes. So the heading is the time has come. In Pali it's called Kala Magameya. The time has come. Time has come for what? Sleeping. Or Gilampasa, juice, in the evening. Time has come. What is that time? It's death. Yeah. Yes. So this specific suttas, under that heading, he has the thing where the Buddha goes to the sick ward and instructs who are already maybe going to die and so on. And he instructs those suttas. It's very good because then you'll be training this, practicing this. Already you are like rehearsing the moment of death and you can prepare yourself what you're going to think. Okay? This is the real purpose. I told you I faced near-death experience in Mansarovar. Then I was already, because I've been trained in that way, then I know. But one other thought came that I couldn't help the people. I'll do it next time. No, that thought will be less. If I have to pass away.
නක්තිදාන පුරා ප්‍රවෘත්ති කියන්නේ නිවනද ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ?
නෑ. ඔව්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක රහතන් වහන්සේගේ ඒ කියමනක් තියෙන්නේ. අන්තිමටම කියන ආයි මට පාඩයක් නෑ. ඒක රහත් වෙනවා. කියන පාඩයක් නෑ. ඒක 319 එක අන්තිම පිටුවේ. The sick point කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ ගිලන්නේ සූත්‍රය.
ගිලන්නේ සූත්‍රය
ගිලන්නේ. 319.
නාසනේ වගේ මේ සුත්‍රස් කියවන කොහොමද අත්මික වල එනකොට බොජ්ජංගේ වගේ
මාත්‍රා කොටේ මේක මේ වෙලාවට කියනකොට තේරෙයි මොනවද අපි ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරනවද කොහොමද අපි ඉන්නේ වර්තමානයේ හිත බලාගෙන ඉන්න හැටි වම කියනවා මේක ඇත්තටම රහතන් වහන්සේ කෙනෙක් හිතන විදිය වගේ තියෙනවා වර්තමානයේ හිත තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා කියනවා ඒක දැන්ම අපි කර ගිහිල්ලා ඒක පුළුවන් ඒ කෙනාට මතක් කරගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ සරල තියන්නේ එකපාරටම ගන්න නමාම දේවල්. ඒකට හොඳයි අර පිළිත් බල කියන්නේ පිළිත් චෛත්‍ය වගේ බලන්න. විතර නැහෙනවනේ ඒකට මතක. පොඩි දෙයක් පිළිත් චෛත්‍ය වල. කට්ටිය හැන්ඩ් දාන්නේ. මේ තාත්තත් ඒක කියනවා අර කැහින එක කියනවා. සමාවික උස්කටන වනිමෝනිය ස්මෝලර් මොකද අද කාම කොටේ
ඉස්මෝලේ
ඒ නෙමෙයි. මනුස්සෝ කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? කදොම එකක් කියන්නේ නම කියන්නේ. ඉස්මෝලේ ඒක උනා. පාරකුණා ඒක එකලා බේරුණා කියලා අනිත් පාර දන්නේ නැහැ එම කරනකොට ඒකයි ඊට පස්සේ මේ මොනවද මනුස්සෝ කියන්නේ. මොකද වෙලයි ලාභම තමයි. අවශ්‍ය තිබ්බ පරමාවේශ අනුතිමක් තිබ්බා. කියන්නේ ඒක දුකයි මොකද දුවල කියන. දැන් සපක් නෑ. දීර්ඝ ආශය තිබ්බත් නෑ. සමාජයට පුළුවන් විදිය දේවල් කරගත්ත එකක් මට්ටමේ කරා. ඊළඟ යනවා දැන් අපි කියන්නේ ඉන්නකොට මේ වගේ මොන කරන්න අවස්ථාවක් නැහැනේ. බ්‍රිටිෂ් කොයිද කරලා දෙකක් තුනක් ඉතින් මේක යහමින් මේක මැරෙන්න ඒවට කොට හොඳට උදව් කරන දේවල්. මේ වලදී තියෙනවා නේද? දැන් පුරුදුන කොච්චර ජීවිතේ එක දවසක් කම්පා වෙන්නේ බයක් වෙන්නේ උඩ මේ රහස තමයි පොඩි තේරෙන්නේ. We're getting to know the secret of this life, so then ඉස්ලා මට තවරුත් 18 ඉන්න කටින් සමීපයි. මොකේද දෙයක් නෑ. මෙයා දැන් නෑ අර ඒක මම පස්ට වෙන්නේ මම හිතන්නේ මම බුදු දෙයක් කරනවා කියන්නේ ඒක තමයි තාමත් ඇත්ත. තව මහණෙනි ඔන්න මෙන්න තිබිච්ච යම් ඉන්සයිට්ස් ඇති වෙනවා. ඒක තවත් ඇහිදුනා මහණෙනි ඒක තලාවෙන් කරනවා කරා. ඒක අපි වහන පාන දැන් ඉස්සරවල තියෙනවා දැන් නම් හරි එතනදිත් ඒක මම කියනවා මේ පේන එක නෙමෙයි ජාතිපච්චය ජරා මරණ. ඒක 아무තු විෂන්ස් තියෙනවා. Okay, I'm sorry. Some interesting thing. You must have that AI thing. You know, I have my other friend for devotee. He has that when you just translates into Chinese. That's how we talk, you know, because one, he doesn't know any English, not even yes or no. I'm thinking. Yeah, Maori Marta thinking, you know. එකට යදා මම බලාගත්තේ අතරම ආත්මේ මහ පුදුම මේ පපුව පැලෙන්න අඬනවා. ඒක දැන් දාලා යනකොට හරි පපුව පැලෙන්න වගේ තමයි. That Bridget guy thing. So he doesn't know. So he uses this. I tell it in English, then he...
There's a device.
Yeah. Maybe from AI, yeah. And we communicate. He goes with me to Kailash also. Actually, it was his first trip to Kailash last year. With me, he had been in the operation, so but he said I will go with. And I also had a little, yes, last year, little bit, then there's a clinic that give oxygen, and I was stabilized. Just one night, I spent there and came back. So, yeah, now I'm going to just, this is a very important one. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Vesan, the great wood in the hall with the big roof. Then in the evening, the Blessed One emerged from seclusion and went to the sick ward, where he sat down in the pointer seat and addressed the bhikkhus thus: Bhikkhus or bhikkhu should await his time, mindful and clearly comprehending. This is our instruction to you. Wait his time means the moment of death, okay? And how bhikkhus is a bhikkhu mindful? Here bhikkhus or bhikkhu dwells contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having put away covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating feeling in feeling, mind in mind, phenomena in phenomena. It's Satipatthana, okay? Ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having put away covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. It's in such a way that a bhikkhu is mindful. When you're walking, going, we have been unmindful all the time.
Yes.
Just simple this we have to start in practical life. You don't need this sutta, nothing deeply. If you're not even for a moment mindful and doing things, not useless. This have to be done and start in your real life. Only this hall only and then that you rush. I see you running like, I call this the animal walk. Like this looking okay. Sometimes some of my organizers, they feel very this thing when they meet me. Because I put funny names to this. Recently I put Johnson. Johnson means like, I also didn't know what I meant by it. I had the idea exactly, I want to convey that this name came Johnson. Okay. So luckily, the Vasudeva does us, right? He gave exactly what I meant. Like bird rest and all that, You may be like, those things has to make a point. Okay, never do I love for the thing, like even you're very old and you have batik shirt, batik shirt and dressed in such a way because what you were fashion used to when you were young man maybe, even when you get old you use that and certain type of sandals and and so but the public, how the public will look, especially this part of the world I know, because one time when I was brought up also I knew I had to dress well when I present to the people will be judging me according to how I'm dressed.
Absolutely, here in
Yeah, I was in this culture for a short time until so there they will be seeing you. So, but if you stay in that kind of conditioning long time, it's not very good, I think. Then you become to show a thing rather than to experience something with your conscious, keeping your conscious clear and all that. It doesn't matter according to the place you have to be. Even your accent you have to change, because people will be judging according to your accent. Alright? So the sounding, so you have to live in a Kamalok or sense world, in a certain place where discrimination is also happening. And so that human beings are there. They are not arahants or enlightened people you have to be with. So then, but you can be a wonderful example for all the human beings, yearning for. I know one story I told you, Birmingham or somewhere, where one shop, this owner of the shop, they used to see an Asian girl coming and going, and she used to emanate very, and she seemed to buy a very simple thing, like she just doesn't seem she has enough money, but she was like, they were noticing she was having that very peace and like a very different. That's why I say it's your makeup. It's easily got by you losing your ego and enjoying something internally to you. Human beings will feel it wherever they are. Okay. I did have some experience in Cyprus, Nicosia, with some of the people there are those days. Just if you practice, so sometimes I go to the toilet and practice. Okay, close myself, of course, dressed well, just to suit the place. Even when I had to work in the office, I did that. I used to go to the toilet, lock myself, chant little Buddha's qualities, practice the metta. Because my teacher has already explained that if you just allow this only, that same karma, same consciousness will be nourished. If you bring in this peacefulness and practice only, this karma will be, again you'll be in stage, again you meet some other people you have to work with. It's repeating karma again. So if you're wise like that, then you bring in the teaching slowly. So I did like that for 2 years. Audit firm and all this. It was a little later, when I was 24, like 25 like this. This also was very helpful. I'm talking, I must read everything.
Swami Vivekananda once said, Swami Vivekananda කියනවා මේ සුදු කෙනෙක් අහනවා මේ ඔයා මොකද ඇඳගෙන ඉන්නේ විදිය කියලා. ඒකට ස්වාමි විවේකානන්ද කියනවා ඔයාගේ කැරක්ටර් එක දෙන්නේ ටේලර්. මගේ කැරක්ටර් එක මගේ ඇඳුම නෙමෙයි කියලා.
Swami Vivekananda was wearing, like some Hindu yogis, they wear a little bit more. They cover their head with a big turban. He was like that, so it looks very unusual. So she was telling that, can't take a powder? Tell that they will also want to know what you're telling. So he said, I think your character is with your tailor, huh?
Yeah, the character.
The dress you are wearing, but my character?
My character is my qualities of my life. The way I dress doesn't make a tailor, but this is what I wear. This is my character. The qualities of my life. So.
That's a human nature, If you're in Sri Lanka, there's another type of discrimination. If you're in your own country, another type. It's human nature to how much now in this part of the world, sometimes other ways, profession, right? Maybe, I don't know. Am I right?
Yes.
Profession is a one form of. But now when you are answering this, it seems to be you have some aversion. You know, that you must lose, because it's like the same thing that definitely you have done to a certain extent. You are getting it back somehow. You know, this you should know. You understand? Once somebody discriminating somewhere, then this is like a cycle working. So, so if you have that averse feeling and judging nature of people who are discriminating, then because then you are not much elevated either.
We are the same like them.
Yeah, in a different way. That's why you don't care to give any Dhamma to them, right? I think I'm being too bad. That's only the Chinese and the Chinese and the Indians get together. You know? Because they're very similar and they can pull up and don't be that. You know, you have lot to do. You have lot to love to come share with the whole world. First you lose attachment even to your family members. What you're seeing from your senses is very important. Though you're for your some karma destiny, you have to work here, live here, do that, but keep it separate and keep your evolution going. You're not born to to be small-minded. You're born to be evolved, as a being, to be enlightened. It can happen in one of these worlds. You go walking, suddenly you might see the truth. There is silence here. For me, I can't say I saw this fully or whatever, but some sparks happen in southern Africa, but in solitude. So luckily I didn't have suttas, but due to some of my good karma, I was analyzing, thinking like that, and then, regard so spiritual experience. So you can also get it here. We don't know. The conditions are there. So you can reduce your work too much, being busy also slowly. Loosen your ambitions too much so that you have more time to, really do what is important. Don't go with that rush also. Just to compete with, make your achievements based on what's happening. Then also you're really, going out of the track.
So we practice at lunch, either we listen to your Dhamma talks or we meditate while we are having lunch. Because the type of work we all do, it's very stressful here in America, but we think it's a blessing here. We are living here too because we can spread Dhamma because many people don't know what real Buddhism is. So I think it's a very good advantage that we are here.
Yes.
All of us, because we have to give good examples then, so they will follow.
As I told you that I forgot to tell that late girl, when she was going to the shop and coming, they were noticing her. And then one day they want to ask, the family who owns this thing, and they found that she buys something very small, like 1 pound or 1 pound or I don't know, shilling or in UK. And then I asked, how you're so peaceful and this thing was, what do you do and how are you like that? Then I said, I'm a Buddhist. That's how I'm a Buddhist. That's what, you can do a lot.
And then the shop owner's son became a Buddhist after that.
Yeah, I don't know the full, I forget the story.
Yes.
I have told this before, right?
Yes. So also then the son of the shop owner became a Buddhist, and then I don't know if he ordained or anything, but I remember you used to tell that story.
I forget. After a long time I'm recalling this story.
A young boy.
Yeah, it actually happened. So we read this, okay? And how bhikkhus is a bhikkhu mindful. Page 9. So they practice the Satipatthana, 3rd paragraph. And how bhikkhu does a bhikkhu exercise clear comprehension? Here a bhikkhu is one who acts with clear comprehension when going forward and returning, when looking ahead and looking aside, when drawing in and extending the limbs, when wearing his robes and carrying his outer robe and bowl, when eating, drinking, chewing his food and tasting, when defecating and urinating, when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, speaking and keeping silent. It is in such a way that bhikkhus exercise clear comprehension. Okay? In this retreat also I told you to practice much as possible when you're going coming. Okay, this is a good opportunity, you had the chance to do it. A bhikkhu should await his time mindful and clearly comprehending. This is our instruction to you. Because while a bhikkhu dwells thus, mindful and clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent, and resolute, if there arises in him a pleasant feeling, he understands. Now, this is a vidarshana part, very important. Okay. This instruction given by the Buddha, these things you must train now itself to look at like that and detach yourself, because the moment of death, this kind of contemplation we have already done in other suttas. This really helps. Okay. Now, ardent and resolute, if there arises in him a pleasant feeling, he understands thus, there has arisen in me a pleasant feeling. That means he notes it. He's mindful of the present moment. When he gets a feeling, he's just not experiencing it. He's noting it that I have got now a pleasant feeling. Now that is dependent, not independent. Now he's contemplating. Okay? There has arisen in me a pleasant feeling. Now that is dependent, not independent. It is dependent on what? Dependent on this very body. He knows I don't get this feeling without the body. But this body is impermanent. So this you can also add. It's because of food and karma. Therefore it is a changing and something that will disappear. So it's impermanent. The body is impermanent. Condition, dependently arisen. So when the pleasant feeling has arisen, dependent on a body that is impermanent, condition, dependently arisen, how could it be permanent? He dwells contemplating impermanence in the body and in pleasant feeling. He dwells contemplating vanishing, contemplating fading away, contemplating cessation, contemplating relinquishment. As he dwells thus, the underlying tendency to lust in regard to the body and regard to pleasant feeling is abandoned by him. Okay. So these are simple things you must daily try to do it and contemplate and master. Because while a bhikkhu dwells thus mindful and clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent and resolute, if there arises in him a painful feeling, now that was applied first to the pleasant feeling, and if you get a painful feeling also, he understands thus, there has arisen in me a painful feeling. Now that is dependent, not independent. The same contemplation is done, okay? Dependent on what? Dependent on just this body. But this body is impermanent. Condition, dependently arisen. So when the painful feeling has arisen in dependence on a body that is impermanent, condition, dependently arisen, how could it be permanent? He dwells contemplating impermanence in the body and in painful feeling. He dwells contemplating vanishing, contemplating fading away, contemplating cessation, contemplating relinquishment. As he dwells thus, the underlying tendency to aversion in regard to the body has. Now this is very important. When you contemplate like this only, your anger, real anger, underlying nature of anger. That means you have like something we call latent. Even you might overcome the superficial anger. Okay? But the latent nature of getting angry is removed by this way of contemplating. Okay? Not by even compassion meditation. Okay? This kind of wisdom where you analyze, contemplate and see the entire thing as impermanent, vanishing. Then with that, the anger also, the underlying nature, the possible nature for it to arise also, it will burn away. The underlying tendency to aversion in regard to the body and regard to painful feeling is abandoned by him. Next page. Because while a bhikkhu does mindful and clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent, and resolute, if there arises in him neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he understands thus. What is this kind of feeling called? Indifferent, yeah. And another one?
Neutral.
Neutral. Yeah. So it's not painful, not. So sometimes you might be in samadhi also. Okay? If you are dying and like this, you can be in samadhi. So then you have neutral feeling experience. Okay? There has arisen in me a neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Now, the body is impermanent. Now, that feeling is also experienced through what? Through what? The feelings are all experienced through body, right? So that feeling is also experienced through the body. Dependent on what? Dependent on just this body, but this body is impermanent. Now there has arisen in me a neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Now that is dependent, not independent. Dependent on what? Dependent on just this body. But this body is impermanent, conditioned, dependent arisen. So when the neither painful nor pleasant feeling has arisen, dependent on a body that is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen, how could it be permanent? He dwells contemplating impermanence in the body, and neither painful nor pleasant feeling. He dwells contemplating vanishing, contemplating fading away, contemplating cessation, contemplating relinquishment. As he dwells thus, the underlying tendency to ignorance is in regard to the body and in regard to neither painful nor pleasant feeling is abandoned by him. So normally if you have a samadhi and you are having a neutral feeling, okay, and you die, we know you will go to a higher world like Brahmavaloka. Okay? So when you are having this kind of neutral feeling, you don't have anger, okay? You don't have desire. Alright? So what do you have?
One thought.
Yes, one thought, correct. But you don't have anger. You don't have greed. Okay? But you have
Really.
delusion.
Illusion.
So now when you are not just enjoying peace and waiting, more you are enjoying peace, your deluded nature, their wisdom wanes down. සමාධියේ ශාන්තව ඉන්න වැඩියෙන් ඉන්න ගියොත් අර ප්‍රඥාව කියන එක යන්න අඩු වෙන්න පටන් ඔව් දැන් මේ කාලේ ටිකේ දැන් එහෙමයි අර දෙකම ඒකනේ කියන්නේ භාවනා කරන එතකොට මේ කියවන්න ඒක ප්‍රඥාව වෙනවා අර මේ ඇනලයිස් කරන මේ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් මේ එක්සර්සයිස් you are doing this exercise then your wisdom that's reading the book and meditating especially this Buddha's teaching your wisdom begins to increase. Okay, so also you have to do that equanimity because to have deeper wisdom also you need it. But if you are not doing that exercise and just only doing the samadhi, this will start to decrease. It just happened to me. Yeah, it is for years. Okay, this all with experience. I'm telling you, as a young boy, so much with this thing, and then the samadhi took over. Long periods, just the samadhi. Now as a whole, this time only with this retreats and all this, now slowly started to come.
So the wisdom comes with the samadhi and then
It helped to get higher wisdom, samadhi, okay? But without higher means real deeper experience of wisdom, samadhi helps. But samadhi alone, without analyzing, contemplating exercises, the wisdom wanes. The wisdom faculty wanes. Then you become very peaceful, but not thinking, analyzing, contemplating.
So like vidarshana.
Sorry?
Vidarshana.
Yes, like our that's why we have to read this, contemplate, think, analyze, this thing. Then only the wisdom faculty is alive. It's all brain. If it's not exercised, it is plasticity, they call it. So it can, if it's not worked out, it just goes weak. So that's why you have to do but if you're only analyzing, contemplating without doing the samadhi, then you become restless and you're getting too intellectual, and so you have to learn to do the other one also. But be careful not to, because our craving nature can slowly reduce that reading, thinking, and remain more in samadhi. And that if there's no teacher or some people who will encourage you or tell you the defect, and this thing you'll be continuing, some things like that happen to me. Okay. So it's also different karma. Maybe the samadhi helped me to keep sila. So there are some karma takes over. We can't tell that this was wrong there, but definitely samadhi only will diminish your wisdom. So you will have peaceful state of this. You remain there, but you have no anger or greed, but your mind will be still with a lot of delusion. Okay. Bhikkhu, while a bhikkhu dwells thus, mindful and clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent and resolute, if there arises in him a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he understands that there has arisen in me a neither a painful nor pleasant feeling. Now look at this. If you get that peace and you contemplate how I got it and its nature, that is, you're becoming aware of this experience. You're not just experiencing the feeling. Okay? And then you're analyzing how it came, because of our body, and the body is impermanent, it's going to change. So if you think while you have that peacefulness, then you're exercising your mind to see the final truths or principles of that experience. Okay? So if you're exercising that, then your mind is going away from delusion, just experiencing feelings only. So it's going away from delusion. So if those things might even that moment trigger insight. But I would not say when you're in samadhi or in peace and then do this contemplation. Best thing is you do this when you're meditating, like in metta or anapanasati, just do that. Don't mix up thinking all this. Then read the books. That's all you should do. You should do like both together. Then read a bit. Then what you read, do the walking and what's interesting, contemplate. Should be done like that. But don't stop contemplation. Keep it always at least, I would say 60%. Which I'm also not doing yet. Hopefully I can get it before I die. But before I did it very, very strongly as a young boy. Some people thought maybe this is big Pandit. So young but talking big things. But that time was fresh, and but the karmas also come, and you have to work out in the lifetime, and then dependent on what? Dependent on just this body, but this body is impermanent, condition, dependent arising. So when neither painful nor pleasant feeling has arisen, dependent on a body that is impermanent, condition, dependent arising, how could it be permanent? He dwells contemplating impermanence in the body and in neither painful nor pleasant feeling. He dwells contemplating vanishing, contemplating fading away, contemplating cessation, contemplating relinquishment. As he dwells thus, the underlying tendency to ignorance, there's the underlying tendency to ignorance in regard to the body and regard to the neither painful nor pleasant feeling is abandoned by him. Okay? If he feels a pleasant feeling, he understands it is impermanent. He understands it is not held to. He understands it is not delighted in. If he feels a painful feeling, he understands it is impermanent. He understands it is not held to. He understands it is not delighted in. If he feels a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he understands it is impermanent. He understands it is not held to. He understands it is not delighted in. If he feels a pleasant feeling, he feels it detached. When he's doing like that, he feels a pleasant feeling detached. If he feels a painful feeling, he feels it detached. Even the painful feeling, he feels it detached. When he's doing like that. When he's thinking like that. If he feels a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he feels it detached. All three feelings will be detached when he's doing like that. When he feels a feeling terminating with the body, he understands, I feel a feel terminating with the body. Now is the like death moment types of feelings we are getting. Okay? So then also he notes it. So you know when you're going to die, what to do. You don't think this and that, what type of feeling you have, you note it. That I am having a deadly feeling. Okay? Then when he feels a feeling terminating with the body, he understands, I feel a feeling terminating with the body. When he feels a feeling terminating with life, he understands, I feel a feeling terminating with life. He understands with the breakup of the body, following the exhaustion of life, all that is felt not being delighted in will become cool right here. Now this is actually of a person who has fully enlightened. Alright? So he already now thinking, I am not enjoyed or delighted these things, so no karma or that. So after now these pain feelings will come and go. It will be last. It will be the body will be just cool after some time. So so not being delighted. He said with the break of the body, following the exhaustion of life, all that is felt, not being delighted in. So in the previously, as a perfected person, if he done properly this thing, then he's not delighting any feelings, pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. That way will become cool right here. Just as a bhikkhu, an oil lamp burns independent on the oil and the wick, and with the exhaustion of the oil and the wick, it is extinguished through lack of fuel. So too bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu feels a feeling terminating with the body, the same thing is repeated, terminating with life. He understands with the breakup of the body, following the exhaustion of life, all that is felt, not being delighted in, will become cool right here. So this is an idea, even if you have not become fully enlightened, that just now also try to experience what is going on right now and train yourself, that habit will work. So when you have, and if you have fear also in that time, you can note, I am having fear now, like this, I had some experience, with the elephant. I told this, that maybe now I'll end. Okay, this parachute jump is finished. All right. Just this last time, I think enough, right? So, in this long time ago, this one lone elephant was there, and then it has also chased some of the monks in this area. So this monk who was there, I have told this, right? No. Others boring. Anyway, I will tell again. So they told me also there is this thing that I never saw them actually. So then I had to go to a cave far away, one stone cave, Yodalena cave. Giant's cave is called, it's a huge cave. But there's some covering and all that. Bears come there also, but actually bears sometimes, they're like, you can feel the elephant also is plucking trees, and it's like a bulldozer. You can hear they're in the kuti inside. And then sometimes the bear has been beside, there's like a small thing for snoring and staying there. And sometimes he smells the thing, and then he's very excited going up and down. But this was a covered cave actually, that small kutia is there. But I stayed even further there, it's called Pamණක. That's where I told you to open just the rope, and then it was a nice time. That's why I know these bears are used to. There's not too much of a problem. But still, we don't know animals, they can be unpredictable. So anyway, I had to, there are footpaths in the jungle. It is from waterhole to waterhole. Naturally created by animals running, going to waterhole, because they are always in need of water, they know. So these footpaths we can go, otherwise it's all bush everywhere. Okay. So there's one that is going to the monks have made a small makeshift where we can get the food. So I happened to go, and one day when I was coming from my food, I used to serve, and I don't know whether I've taken it or taking it in the cave. I saw that open this thing, the elephant. So those days I'm not very, not too experienced in honesty. So, like they are, let's see, where the gentleman is with glasses, the Chinese gentleman. Don't worry if I say Chinese, not discriminating, right? Just to, like the Malaysia, one Malaysian, right? I have a special connection with Chinese, to be honest, karmically I feel, really. So, but I don't have preference to anyone. No. Anyway, like there, somewhere there. So it's eating the grass. I stopped. I should have go on my way. We should never interfere. So I just looked and sort of made a little noise also. Then he saw me. I think somewhere, maybe the Malaysian, somewhere there, the elephant was. He saw me and he lifted the trump and, ears like this and trumpeted and, came rushing. So I'm not used to going fast also, so I was taking a few steps back and I can hear my other brother mom. He heard me, that I'm the one who has gone. So he came, Raja, Raja, shouting very hard. Raja, Raja, like this, like from up. And the elephant came like this, maybe somewhere where the lady with glasses here. I don't know from where you are. I know you're from Sri Lanka, okay? So Sri Lanka is boring for me to tell Sri Lanka. So he just turned there like that, okay? So then he came and then he took me from another path, into my cave. So next day I'm going for my food again, and then the path like very very narrow, alright, and the bush, it's like bush. So when I was going, suddenly at a place, I heard suddenly like I'm sorry, the elephants, when they breathe hard, that's a very unique sound, like big horse, like in the trunk. So then it cease here, and this thing is there and like this top. So normally we know that like they will take you and then So what happened then? Immediately the time froze to me, and I could notice that my stomach is something happening. And then like infinity, like the time is like telling me, Nanloka, you are going to die now. And what was it? Yeah, like that not by death. Next birth you'll have to start from where you stop. I don't know if I'm talking or something somebody telling. It's like maybe I'm telling to myself, I don't know what. So next birth you have to start from where you stop. It's not by dying this birth ends. It's by having insight and with wisdom and your craving extinguish. Like that it was getting a clear picture. And then I saw that I was attached to my meditation. So that attachment was creating fear. That fear was creating this stomach thing. So like that it was all like becoming, and I was waiting until he come eat. He also waited, right?
Sometimes you didn't chant?
What time to chant is like there's no time to chant. It's like just like this, Only thing I know is that I'm going to immediately die. So then I start moving. Yes. I have never told this one. There's maybe so many
I think you
programs. So I don't tell this like it's not really to relate, but okay, in the moment of this. So enough, right? Okay, I take rest. Anything? Maybe a lot of questions. I hope not. You have to read and go on. Something. Relax today. Don't worry. Be silent because you might get something more. What is like interesting to contemplate, do that. Alright? That will be interesting. That will be very fruitful. Yes? Sorry, I will come to you.
Oh,
Yes?
sorry, it's a quick question. This sutta on the sixth wall, is it referring to Arahat? Is he an Arahat?
Which one? Sorry?
The sutta that you just
Explain, yes.
is it referring to an Arahat?
Yeah, it shows the last explanation of like, it is an of an arahant. Yes. He's not delighting in the feelings and it comes to cool. Yeah.
Because it's very difficult for the ordinary person.
Yeah, but you can have it as an idea how you're going to face death and all this, like the 5 khandhas. Now you're practicing all this not to delight in anything. Okay, already then these practices are preparing you for that. So you also can have an idea, if the death moment comes, what to think, which you have done, your meditation, you have trained already. So otherwise then you have a clear idea when it comes, no, I must now look at the khandhas. Khandha means, right? Body feeling, okay, like that. So this is where you get used to, I think it's very helpful. If you have insights, that's more helpful, then this is, so while you're living, that's why I said, while you're living, you should die. So that is happening to you. Even this retreat is like a process of killing you. Okay? Because telling you your body is not you, feeling, perception like that, is by wisdom you will be killed. So then nothing will be there to die finally if you can do it more and more. You will not really too much worry about death if that happens. I've experienced this. I was wondering how I will react when my father dies. Really. Father and of course mother, I would say, in the external world, if I have some attachment, it should be the strongest to them. Okay? So I also want to know all these practices I have done, how I really feel. So this was first with my father, and actually another, I think, Malaysian gentleman, I think Australia, in the program like this. Then just after my father passed away, I came to do the program. And he asked me, how do you say your goodbyes to your father? So when he told me this, I suddenly remember, my first goodbye was done when I ordained. And it's really like that. The ordination process is also a killing process. You can feel it, When they were going to take me to cut my hair, I felt like I was going to be taken for gallows. One thing, why? Because I know the sensual world is going to be completely out. The majority of your body is connected with the sensual world. You understand? So, actually who cut my hair was the one monk now who is here. What is that monastery name?
Kawila Temple Dhammapiti Swamina.
The temple that I called the Dhammapiti Bhante. It's a wonderful Bhante, Though they are in the temples, he the one early morning, he and another monk came. And actually first person who cut was according to my wish was my mom. So actually I do in ordinations I do that to others also. Binding that force for their future fight. Because that's, so even now the Italian mother was difficult for them to come. So it was okay, they agreed, not there. But all others I asked the mother to cut the first walk from my own experience. Because that's a big thing, because this will give, because it's a big warfare as that time goes on. And because that will really keep you, the challenges come. You need all that. Because that's why ordination is all very important. It's not just done, and before that all the blessings from the ancestors and so on is necessary. just go and then you can see people mumbling that you are not considering this very clearly. So anyway, there is one. Then when you attain samadhi, it's another occasion where you die. Okay? So you can, that death you can do even at home now. As I told you, not to get distracted early morning, really try to get to that peacefulness, to metta or anything, and when you really, that's a death. And if you can do that very much, you're also getting used to it. You're not in that, that is, you're not enjoying the sense pleasures and getting that higher, peacefulness and certain experience. So it's a kind of a death already. It's not the lesser your desires, it's like a death. So lesser your desires, easy to die. More desires is difficult to die. So this is just one prayer. Then another occasion I remember, as a monk. Now even though we are monks, we have to go on practicing. Even initially I remember my parents used to visit once a month. Like they come to give alms, they know which monastery I'm there. Not the monastery, we were in Island Hermitage, another one called Parappadua, unsilent before. So with my teacher, but they know, so they come once a month for giving the path. So this happened. Then I started my charika slowly with my teacher's blessings. And then one year I went from forest to forest, jungle, but that's all walking. So I started from one forest, one area, and then also I made sure that nobody knows my direction. There's one place they get to know when it's the jetty. Okay? So when you, the jetty, where our boat, we in island, so when you come to the jetty, there's a temple where we land, and there normally the monk, the senior monk, he was very nice, and he might inquire, and parents or dayakas get to know from that monk this how it is all working. So so I knew now the link how it's working. So I made sure that also it was a challenge for me to do that. It was another ordination, So we have to train like this, otherwise nothing will happen. To be for the name we are ordained or but our minds will be sealed with a lot of desires, attachments and so on. So anyway, when I left like that, I went all the way, nothing particularly, but when I entering the forest, I knew I was really entering now the forest. Actually, thoughts came of my father. How, I could see the underlying attachment. So when it came like that, suddenly these teachings, this practice, what is the father? It's the perception. What is the nature of perception? It's rising, passing away. Okay? So immediately I was able to apply, because already I have been practicing, that is rising, passing away. And that way I was able to not to have that mental pain or worry or anything. So replace it by wisdom. So it's another way of death is through wisdom. And that happens even to the retreat now, who have died and we are suffering for the death of the person. Like one sister of one, died, she also died. So I knew them very closely, and then she passed away. One of the sisters passed away, and they couldn't really handle it. Because they had no tools from this way whatsoever. They were only involved with gods and, kind of, devotion and Buddha's teaching, not too much, nothing. I didn't force them also. So they were connected to me because of the God, this kind of connections. Of course, I also have that part too, but they were really like godmothers to me. And in other ways, they were protecting me. And they were also psychic. They had the psychic, you might know definitely. It worked here also. I don't want to, they were very close to Gotha, Rajapaksa's wife also. You don't know, they were not. So anyway, they're very close. Okay. But anyway, I tell you the point, what happened. then they couldn't, I knew they were pain so much. And because after they passed away, they communicated me, and then they didn't know I was hearing them. They were telling, how are we going to, because after all, burial, cremation and everything, when they come home, then they are back with that reality. Okay? So, later then, when I started the retreat, they were the first to come and quickly do, and she was also ailing that time. But they started, first retreat, she told me, but the sadness with my sister after this retreat only went away. So I can understand, because the body feeling perception, that is me and I, that's something contemplated, perceived. Then all the memories that the other bodies were real and everything, it goes away from your mind. The delusion is gone away, then any kind of thing that, like a thorn that was stuck, if you take the thorn out, then all the pus and the infections start to. Same way, in the mind, the sufferings, the ignorance was the main thorn, so that was reduced, and the suffering, definitely go away. I saw I was very happy to. But she did 2-3 retreats, but I don't think those are completely enough, face. So that's why while you are now here, master it properly, strongly, go refuge to the Buddha, and try to do it to a daily practice also. I don't know if I complete my ideas. Yes.
Well, the reason why I asked that was, one says, when one speaks to oneself, it's a cognition, and you're saying, well, this is not painful, but you're really going through pain at the moment of death. And I felt excruciating pain when I had local anesthesia. And I tried to apply this teaching, but I'm not aggregated, and I did feel the pain very much so. So I was really holding myself together to go through it. So that's probably why I asked if this person was an arhat. We know that monks.
Yeah, you can't do this research. Even I think arhat will be feeling the pain. Not that it's not feeling, but it's. It will be, his wisdom is so much trained, his faculties are so much trained, no generation of anger, aversion or irritation will come. That's the difference he has, even the Buddha. That the pain will be felt. The Buddha used to tell, when he was they think that Ananda, the thirst and so on, and they think, but definitely that reaction is completely absent. With those, the karma generating, and that is from the moment of arhatship, they say it's like a stump being broken, that it can't grow again. So but at least definitely a person who has more craving and not practicing like this will feel pain more, isn't it? Who will practice this will feel more pain than others. What do you think? You should feel less pain, right? What do you think? If you practice, do you think you feel more pain? What do you think? Do you think if you practice this now, coming to the retreat, you'll have more pain? These things can happen, like your karma can be, okay, I know this, like the retreat can sort of, like for example in Buddha Gaya, okay? I have told this, I think, I hope you will not be bored if you are listening to this. In Buddha Gaya, like I stayed long periods and there are a lot of people who come and stay longer also. So one Thai lady, I remember, she came to me and said, Bhante is a very devoted person. Bhante, we came to Buddha Gaya. One day I saw that she looked so sad and something upset. She said, we come to Buddha Gaya to pray and meditate and to get peace. But we have more problems here coming, more sadness coming. Then I told her, Buddha Gaya is like a hospital. Your karma is being operated. Yes, say it's true. Like when you are now going on the path or in devotion or in practice, whatever in the Buddha's, any problems that you come, definitely you should know there's that mystical effect. That maybe something you have to go through for several years, it might go through a few months. So like this, the karma is how it's like Angulimala, for example. He when he used to go arms round, when he comes back, he used to come with wounds and everything. Okay? So what he killed, the murders, he did so many, those karma was execution, those wounds. Okay? So what was that special state he got? Is those visions from these teachings. I'm telling you about a separate vision, that you get visions from this. So at least you have been just trying towards that. Means maybe now even coming to this retreat, I have seen people that the underlying wrongly what has been coming in their life start to come up very strongly and blocking. If it is 50% or 40%, they won't come to the retreat. So if it passes 60%, they manage to come. And so while you are there here also, it will fasten. You might have, some things might erupt in your diti, but because when you hit a punch to the Mara will hit you back, but don't worry, everything. Sure.
I would an arahant take their life because of the unbearable pain.
Mm-hmm. This question was asked to me in Mahamaya school. This kind of taking away life, how the arahant, why he does it, or how he can do it, or is he allowed to do it, it's a question to be known by an arahant. Like if you become an arahant, then you will know, you can justify this. But without being an arahant or free from, fully enlightened, I think you must not even think about it. So why he's doing it, actually, this some arahants have done. Okay, it is in the Buddha's time, and Buddha doesn't explain as such, but they have done it in that way. It doesn't mean that they are not going to rebirth again. But people like us, even if you think of that they did it, maybe there's that there's some this thing. No, it will be always we are still having anger, greed, and delusion, and it will be out of tremendous anger or some kind of hardness in the mind for sure to take such a thing or justify it even by something at that time, and that will lead you to a very dangerous rebirth. More painful than the pain now going through, you want to escape or whatever. That question, I don't know. One day when I become a Arahant, to put that question again to me. Okay? I don't want to analyze all the thing because I don't know why. But I believe definitely it doesn't have greed, anger, all these defilements. So when he's doing that, there's some justification, there's something right what he's doing for him. But for us, I don't know with our state of, I don't think we should even think about it. When the situation comes, that I must say.
So what are some good chanting to help us grow spiritually? I know last time you said Namo Buddhaya, so do you think just repeat this and it's a good chanting, or what other chantings?
You find it yourself, like what you find, tears will come to your mind, your heart, when there's something related to you, you feel it. That's how I think it should work. That inspiration should work. Like Namo Buddha is a nice chanting done by Kiribal Kuranyananda. Nicely, it's a very nice, that that echoes with the universe, and it brings samadhi. It's good. But there are other, now even some verses with the walking meditation which I used to chant in the jungle. Actually, when I chanted that in a certain tune, I felt like the old ancient ruins were waking up. I had this ඩසටහන many years ago. So, sorry? Did you ask?
I didn't catch it.
Actually, sorry, you want to ask something, right?
No, I think I kind of answered partially from the
Other question.
No, one question I was going to ask was, I noticed like Maldives, like most of the forest monks, they spend more time in the forest and they come across animals. Because this morning when I walked to the Dhamma hall, it came here around like 3:20. So I had a stick in my hand and flashlight. I was prepared. So my wife said, "Don't walk, drive." But I thought, no, this is my last chance. Let me try this. And knowing that it's going to be bad, because that fear came quickly, and then I looked around. So then I was trying to think quickly, like, what is it really bothering me? Like, it's the thought of life, like this bear attention and all that. But I kind of applied like what you mentioned, but of course it didn't go that well like, until I came up to the hall. But so I was kind of, what question to you is, my question is that, so testing ourselves like that time to time, is it a good practice?
No, I think let it come to you naturally if it comes. Putting ourselves in danger is not, I don't think, is a wise thing. It's not very, some monks have, it's like also some anger sometimes, the nature to some hard, the mind, it goes to some extreme. The very challenges you will naturally face is good enough. Now, I also put myself into, but because I want to experience the solitude for the practice and enhance my spiritual life on the path, so I have put there. But sometimes I find so many snakes, and like last year I realized I was staying with all the snakes. So my last trip, that place, all deadly snakes. I didn't initially really feel the gravity or the sense of it. And in the night, when it comes to night, but anyway, you get used to also. It's a one kind of thing, in the initial days, I was a little bit, but I want to really stay in the jungle. So the greater I realized there's a law and order in jungle. They don't just come and this thing and no like that. It's only that you don't give them enough space, and they also frighten, and they know this is a marking of somebody staying, and they know if they are coming, or it's a mistake, I am coming. And there are times when they come, and if you go when they are going for their thing, and so there's some law. It's not suddenly animals come and eat you or whatever.
Sometimes I heard when he was walking, he always said Sukhi Supatri. Is that true, Swami? Someone said
no, if someone worships him, he would, that he would bless some. He would not chant or do like that. I have not seen it like that.
Oh, okay. Then you were a lay person, I think, at Disiruwana, and then she offered Kiribat and Konakanda. So you mixed and then you fed him. And you were a lay person.
I fed him many things. But when he was not really, he was dependent. Many things I should make special. I was not experienced, but whatever I thought might. This flask I put over sort of powders, you can try to use. Because sometimes I even my blanket when I found it's cold, and for my kuti I brought very nice memories if I think about it. Like in the kuti there, it was such a, I think previous lives, we had some relationship like this, When he really needed, at that time I was there as a old age, and then so independent, like a lion also. full mastery of the mind, and you just wait for it. Like, you're very inspiring just to be sometimes into your practice. Just you keep on practicing, while you can't just match his practice. Like night times, there's no night day, sleeping time, no. He used to, because he's fractured, he has legs up, and he used to cover his face, seated, the legs thing. So sometimes they told me, like when he's in front of me, when he's covering his with the rope, what is this? Close to the outside world. And that's the way he used to meditate. Then time to time, those days in hospital also in the night at 2 o'clock, taking walking meditation. Came back to the very nice. Because what to do? It was like initially when he came to that stage, it was one of the saddest days. That even such a giant of a being, and but also the happiest day because I was there. I was able to be there when the situation came and give him some physical support. But it was to see that this old age decay will crumble everything. And very interesting, one thing happened in the Dhanashala of those days. I had other problems, he's there, I'm trying to learn from him. And then there are other administrative monks they're doing so much work and want to bring me also to the work. So there was this little tension. So I was feeling someone like obstructing my, I was a young boy, want to really practice. Bhante was also there encouraging, even they have even given a word to them also sometimes to give me support to, we should encourage you are interested, like that. And so one time they showed me some pictures, one of the monks, from old album of some monks who were staying long time ago in Purgastura. There was like some foreign monks and one very handsome, very athletic one monk here, little beard, and then another monk tall and fair and all with forest robes. Exactly three monks I think. When I saw this picture, immediately I recognized, came to me, this is Bhante. I've only seen him old and like this, So sometimes when you see old people, we think they are born old, right?
We've seen that picture, Swami.
Sorry?
Have you seen that picture? And I was
with, did you recognize him?
Yeah. No, it's hard to recognize.
I recognize him, really. And you know what happened to me? I just felt samsara, like how the body, all this is just crumbled by old age and death. And then I had no grudge or anger to all those, or some meditation to those other monks or who were trying to, because I feel, how can they're all going to be smashed by old age, all beings. With that, because I had some attachment to Bhante also, so seeing such a person, he was like this, and now look. Of course, he's always bright. He didn't look like old. He was a very pleasing old person. So much compassion and, but he was really, he was people. So I think we will, this will be final, alright? No. Now it's all finished. I should jump is also over. Okay. But not finish means my part. Please continue until lunch, I will, maybe I'll try to come morning, alright? And early morning, and then text me if you have some questions, maybe. And but continue Salayatana Vagga or other one, Kanda Salayatana, interesting ones you have spotted somewhere tonight. Read and do that contemplation. Try to not to talk, try to continue the solitude. Okay. How many of you have been now here like full 3 or 4 days? Full 4 days. Work. No? Okay, full 4 days, no? Right. Today's your 4th day, right? That means you had like one full food 4 days, and then you read one word of the Buddha and all that, right? And also it depends how much you can talk or you mingle with anybody. But it doesn't matter, something definitely. No, you today also definitely you go to read whatever you write, you feel inspiring. Just one maybe, just don't think about it, be alone. Okay? Tomorrow also you have that time for that. Suddenly this can be like you come to the finish line and then you decide to not to do, to be rest. This is a golden opportunity. Some gems can happen anytime. In my retreat with Bante for 14 days, the 13th day, it was a full moon also, it's very nice for your retreat really. So the perfect, that it gives the energy. It was a full moon the next day and before the full moon, it was a very special moment that they called to me and then it became alive. This is like, then I also get some idea about faith, I started having more faith in it. It's such a, the Buddha is real. This live Buddha is there. We might, maybe we might try to have full faith in it. Not say, we might say, no, this is actually the God of the enlightened masters. It's still having preserved, and now we can, in our own language, and experience it. And it's like more than seeing the real Buddha, the real Dharma, the physical body. Just seeing the physical body is not really seeing the Buddha, it's actually the teaching.
When you in that moment and when you see something, you see like everything is like they're made up from 4 elements, like it's not a person there, it's like something like a little dots.
Okay. Yeah, if it creates the idea this is not me, or this is not any person there, it's just some material, then it's okay. But don't take it as in the right direction. Just don't. If I look like that, if someone shouts when I'm thinking like that, I don't record it or like kind of don't feel it as pleasant or unpleasant or something. That means you're not perceiving it that way because of this perception. Then it's okay. But then you continue to but try to, though you have your own way of like experience that way, go through that and try a new way. Yes?
Did you say tomorrow there may not be time for questions?
Yes. In the morning, after maybe I might come in the morning. Okay? But you think you'll get questions tomorrow? You don't have them now?
I have them now, but I address now. Okay. I was, previously thinking maybe.
You don't have a list, I'm very tired when you see it.
I was trying to maybe to.
Wait a minute, sorry. I think she has got quite enlightened now these days.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking?
Yeah.
She has no questions now. She has become calm.
You can ask.
Sorry?
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, please, we'll allow this gentleman.
Thank you. So I was gonna meditate on it more, but since I have a chance to ask now, so then because after I finish this retreat, I will maybe in a few days I will go to take a 10-day trip in Italy with my friends, and so but reading all the suttas about how it's can't see what I'm writing with the glasses. So about not seeking delight, pleasing, desirable sense experience, and so again, that was a question as I was repeating and rereading that, is it possible, again, maybe it's a similar
enjoy and practice this both together.
Yeah.
It's your question, right?
Is it possible to enjoy the experience without clinging to it? Or, and then I know
I did a practice like this one day. This is not that, when I was in Nicosia, Cyprus, I was there as a student for a short time. So I had some Bangladeshi friends and Pakistani friends. And one of the Bangladeshi friends got a flat or something in, it's called Ayappa or something, a beach area, full beach. And so it's like tourist, full tourist area. Maybe like, I don't know, with the year. Also there's Long Beach, right? Very famous for, so like we have Ikadu in Sri Lanka. So like that, so we got a room. So I thought it's a good place for me. Now even Nicosia city is also I was in the city. So I took my Dharma books. I took the Dharma books and I went there. His room was vacant. He used to go to work daytime and come. So you can try like that. And then I did go out just, after a little bit reading one time, and I went out. I never forget some places painting, all these places, like in the like there are hotels, there are not hotel restaurants, and then they're giving leaflets, and there are clowns, all this like a fair, clowns in front, and so I'm passing those things, and I never forget. What did I ask him? In those days, the most something reasonable in that time when I was there was just to see a movie. All other things are so extreme. And then even in Nicosia, they had good, decent films. Okay, I was 21 years that time. But they also had to get message, like a message from divine. One of the movies I never forget, You might get this experience in Italy, okay? Don't worry. So I went to one of the movies. It was a comedy, right? The Sri Rambo and this and that. It was a comedy movie, not the real Rambo. And suddenly once they showed the forest. There's a water stream and forest. And then suddenly feet, bare feet. Like bare feet. And the camera is going up, slowly. To see a monk in Thailand, Buddhist, when I saw this, what I did, I got up, I was crying. It's like took me to an entire divine, and then I think I got 4 or 5 times this movie just to see that part. Because in those parts, in those, like here, I'm sure, very rare, very difficult, and you're like, where are you? What is this place? And there are times I many times want to leave, and luckily, like I can see the gods, so they were just to bear it. It's a very tough time for me. And one time, those days was with my problem with my father. My mother, no, father wanted me to somehow complete a degree, like this kind of thing. So another one happened, one insurance advertisement. When I was finally going to make some decision, there is this small baby climbing up a ladder. Well, this advertisement is coming, I'm watching this, and the parents are looking, mother and father looking, they're climbing, then he's getting a degree, he's got big, then finally from up, the finger, the universal connection. Okay, this insurance company is also something universal, right? So from the heavens, touching, and the baby finally touches, not the baby, touching the finger. Then I thought, I must wait. These are like so many times like this it happened. So I could see like messages were coming in that, even though you're in this kind of part, because your consciousness is directed. So don't worry sometimes. And one day in another place when I was walking, when I was staying that, so I told, where's a cinema? I don't know if I should tell this, I asked one, like a shop for some place, do you have a cinema hall somewhere? I don't know whether to tell this. Because then he said something, he's not a place for cinema. Here's something, he said, I can't say that. It's for, you better have 2 girlfriends and, like this. Then I realized, what is this place I am? Then I left actually. I thought, no meaning having this room and kind of trying to study the Dhamma. It's a completely kind of.
Yeah, but I think for me, because we will be going to mostly like hiking over the mountains.
Oh, nature.
Yeah, it's a lot of bike riding, and so 10 days is mostly around those. So it's things I will enjoy, I know. But the question is how to balance, because again, reading the sutta is like we almost like should not have delight in our sense experiences. Or is it that we can still enjoy the time in the mountains and time with other people, but just not like holding on to, like maybe there's some other phrase that says not to remain holding to them, those experiences too much. Or I was wondering, is there, while we are still living,
I can only tell my own experiences.
Yes.
Initial stages, I had to be in a disco. I had to be, so same time like you, I have met my teacher, and the spiritual teachings. And those days when I first came from South Africa, Lesotho, and I also don't know, I don't need to go, I didn't think like that. So my cousins, sometimes they have parties, and one disco they had a special one at Blue Elephant those days. So they took me, and I had no suit, so they prepared a suit for me also. 2 occasions, one of my cousins, they had a party. So I was into this, I was actually enjoying that certain mental peace and all that. So I just went with them. They took me one time. So I found that they were dancing, everything. And I was in another world internally, tell you honestly. But I also want to prove my cousins that just in the initial stages, So I remember I made sure I go and dance with one girl. And when we were dancing, I was telling her, this is all Dhamma. And slowly she was going away. And I just sat down somewhere, and then I was thinking of impermanence and all that. But they talked about this later. They were family friends too. So they talked, what was it? They asked, who's that young boy, Young boy, he was saying everything is done. I think nobody knows this, right? But it doesn't matter. I have to recall this situation. So I was fully into it and I didn't know how to. So then there's another one that was the disco. By that time, then I was, I used to go for, they take me. Some party that in branch also, the so-called high society in Colombo. But I used to find a corner. Those first few parties, I remember I get to a corner. And then I do my thing. And then one day, this Blue Elephant, this was my aunts, and they have arranged this law, medical, it was a disco. So my cousin was also with me, and my cousin had a girlfriend, so he wanted to be with me. She was not there, so we went to the disco. I took a chair and sat down on the side. By this time I had those other experience, and I was not in, I was thinking I don't need to prove anybody. Anyway, I was seated, 2 chairs were there. So while they were dancing, I was now my teacher, I have met Bhavante before, he was talking about the Anapanasati and so on. So while dancing, I think contemplated skeletons. Oh, yeah. So I was trying to picture the skeleton behind for some time. Then I thought, no, let's go somewhere. So I went to the pool area, nobody there. But I know 4:30 they will be all finished and they're coming. So there I was there at the pool, maybe a little bit Anapanasati and just continuing my time. They joked also, Shanika was having a beer at the pool. So with my cousins, everybody had returned. So like that I went for several dinners also when my my uncle, they used to have, so I used to go out like that. And I used to do the meditation and take the food. They were a little boring actually. They were so materialistic type of people. Then my grandma was there. Like a protection. Then I realized slowly, I don't need to go to all these places. Let's stop going. Because now I smoke, like you just, then slowly when I come to take food also, grandma used to watch TV. And then sometimes I sit down and there's some kopi curry again. Kopi curry was like a serial, no? Yeah, telegram. So my grandma is watching, so I was not, we never got, my parents didn't get a TV even those days. Only when I left them, they got, because they were upset, I think they want to be entertained. That they were very concerned that we should not have. But then I just watched that telegram. Then I also thought, even that slightest this thing I must give up. I was in a very good spirit, like reading the sutta, meditating, also something with yoga, like I was experiencing some different other things also, like so I was in another world entirely, and I can't sleep also, and I don't feel like sleeping, like so high spiritual practice that time. So grandma is for the other room, she should not put that, then you can celebrate it because it's sleep. So because she tells me I would lie down, 4 o'clock get up quickly. It's like after 12, 1, 2, and then Pirit is going on, and it was a very, very powerful time. So, that cousin who passed away, he used to come. Like he treated me, all others had some respect, some fear also. Because when you practice, you create some power, like your personality becomes a little bit, so he don't care about it. He comes off the Pirit or the chanting and he sit down and he wants my attention. And everybody jealous, that Bandhu says, I am like friend with him. So, also the initial, so you can try all these things. When you go, it should replace naturally. It doesn't mean whether you choose or not. Sense pressures and then the other one so peaceful, so liberating. And you will also, if you experience, you will also see. But be careful, I would say sexual, the thing can cause strong karmas. That you have to be careful. Other things, because that it's going to block your. So if you really want to pursue this path, that I told about no fact and all that, I don't know. This time I did, but I have your hope heard, no fact.
I don't think they know. So.
I'll
share with them. We have a group.
Okay.
Also, I'll share with them.
Yeah, this is also good, important thing to be practiced as a layperson as well. This is a modern time, is a problem. No one talks about it. But there are Western people groups that are practicing this. It's a level of celibacy. Actually, it's masturbation. It's not. This is the damage. Not Christian like 1 week, 1 month, and there are like to monitor this and all that. There are people who are practicing this. And this is very, very important. It should be a report from the age of 14. So, unfortunately, and through other things that you see, it will also come to this. So, and also you invite, it's a big blockage you're going to bring into your spiritual world. It's not going to harm you just to do simple things, but it will diminish your personality also. diminish your personality, you as a person, you become a shell of a person. Am I right? The English, I don't know. No substance. Character also, because anything that arouses too much tanha, craving, though it's not even that has a potential also to do if you have some bad karma stored up, to become a serial killer or like start from there. That's the tremendous devil's area. Those last programs I used to explain a lot about. I think just to create for this now. So because I see people, we also have to face these difficulties. That's nobody taught us. So in Sri Lanka now, there's no any Sinhalese video. In Sri Lanka, I have a video about this. In English, so many. It's very unfortunate in that way. One monk was telling me suddenly, I don't know what it is, he had never heard. Hopefully they will get to know and they will start to practice. Because that will open our Swami Vivekananda, all then we will find how there's a special effect on the people. How did they have that potent, that voice, that aura, that wisdom, and that is by developing that way. And opening up certain special nerves in your brain. Just, Today I'm going more than 3 hours, 4 hours, I don't know.
All of us would like for you to come for a 14-day retreat. I invite you to conduct a 14-day retreat.
We'll see. That is, this time we can't do it. Another time, no?
She wanted you to stay the weekend too, John.
Yeah.
She asked me if you can extend.
This program to another week?
No, that's not 3 days, for 3 more days.
But what about New Jersey?
Yes, that's good.
Not this time. At least something on your own, even you can try it. Or maybe for a later period. See, hopefully. I'm thinking that to continue to use some push, at least sort of push, not to cure to the public people, but it's not the devil is so something. Let's see, at least this much that there's something you have to do. But on your own, even whenever you meet me or not, just keep the book beside you, and I can guarantee, I can tell you, get that vision from that. He's still alive. I hope that will happen to you. That is all my to keep your life slowly developing the character. And have a group also, that's very important, I think. Otherwise, this other influence will be too much. Once a week or twice a week, Twice a week, make a group where you meet and do this practice together. Okay, if you can try to, in Australia, I told them they are doing it because after I go and all that, then some organizers, then they are just sleeping. So it won't do like that, then it will not continue. You can't, so I might even, whether from somewhere, I might even try to encourage you from a wise message or something from the Dayakas. That day, particular day, if you are doing it, I might do that. You can't see in public, nobody will be doing that. Yeah, we have to create this, just like small flame has been created, it should become a wildfire. Okay? Yes, it should. This is very important. That you generate this way to liberation, awaken humanity because it will definitely, people will sense it, this thing, they all look up themselves. If it is true thing, definitely it will have something. All are like same before. So there has to be some platform or something they can see, then they will be driven to that. I think we keep a program, try to get together and take the suttas and whatever like you can do a sitting meditation together with reading and so on, just to be together. You can do some chanting, and like we are doing here, same thing. This will also bring out some cosmic energy here. Special power, not only just the reading, this thing. Okay? Think of the qualities of that. Even the song is about the footprint of the Buddha. Where there's a footprint really laid down, and I had some mystical experiences there. If I tell it could be wrong, you know.
We can pause that.
Sorry?
We can pause that.
No, I don't mind sharing, but it's going to get more late now. It's already 8:45. You know, there's supposed to be some deity who protects that mountain, or who even invited the Buddha to, you know, come there and lay that footprint. Sumana. So one time we had a signal when I was a layman, okay, as a young boy, that this deity will come at a certain time, 12 o'clock, a certain time of the certain day, Monday, Tuesday, something like that. So 3 of us, like 4 of us, we went. It was off season. Okay, we climbed. So it's raining, all that, and we climbed the steps, and so there are security guards there, 2 security guards there. So we went there, and so cold. So they gave us, their place, and there's a heater, hot plate. So we're warming and waiting. So after that, we lie down, all of us, around 11:30. You know, that sacred place is like little bit a little high, not very close. Okay, the footprint is actually, so the gate is there, and then the rooms are there. So we in the room, it's raining, this thing. And we plan to go out and meditate, or but we stayed there. Around 11:30 or 12, I don't know exactly. We were just lying in the dark. One of my other friends told, Shak, anyone, can you hear? So then I was paying attention. Out of track, so I said, come on, power මේ මත හරි දැන් ආන්දරෝ මේ ෆුල් ගියර් එකට දාලා දෙනවා කට්ටිය ටික අත ගන්න ඕනේ. අරවා මේවා ශබ්දයි නේද කියන්නේ දෙවි වරුයි ග්‍රාමවරුයි. තමයි අපි වෙනම කතා කරන්න ඕනේ ඒගොල්ලන් ඉබේ මේනවා. මේක කරනකොට. We are doing this all devatas will automatically come. It's good, he's putting all of us in track. When the real track is going, why we jump here and there? Really, now in comparison, this is very solid. We must master this. And without mastering this, like it's in vain. So anyway, we go a little bit out of track. Okay, that's the story. So there, he asked me, can you hear? And I was like, it's like dark and yeah, I could hear, It's like the old flutes. The Sevisi. It's called the old ancient, they have this drumming and all that. So flutes and drumming, the sky is raining and all that, So I looked at the time, I remember it's like 12, and I was listening and waiting. But you don't get the feeling to go out and have a look. You are freaked out. I thought I told my prayers here, let them hear, because you can't bear that kind of. So it's like half an hour, like 12:30. I'm not a person who is like too much. I don't want to listen to sounds, and actually my devotees are more psychic than me. But I find it's too much psychic also. It's coming from sometimes spirit vision. When spirits are close by, it creates, or it can come when you're certain type of samadhi. But mostly it's the spirit. So that must be balanced by going on a path of desirelessness, disciplining, and samadhi. I don't know whether I told that at least samadhi will take away the ancestors and the influence of this spirit world. It will be taken away because the body, that's the only time it's separating from the gross body. they also get liberated actually, and we also not influenced by it. Then we can do things in a nobody being influencing us. Otherwise, good ones are there, okay, but we are doing good things. But they also not, they don't want to leave us, they want to do good things and be with us. It's surprising sometimes when you come to a program like this, so maybe you have some type of thing supporting you to become liberated as well. I know a lot of Dayaka devotees, they all change, all of them, because they are full of that green side. And then this retreat thing, getting to Nibbana is not easy. Whole Sri Lanka is another Buddhism they are practicing. So this is when there's a lot of pujas, this and that, that can exist more easily. This may be having some special blessings still going on. It's just started. So it was just pure, give me the pure. I feel this is like a calling of this time. And there are beings who are really capable. And I feel this spirit of the sasana is also very kind. Cultivating sasana, experiential sasana. Yes?
Yes, how to get samadhi? Like a good technique.
You can go to the supermarket.
Like
The technique, main one that will affect samadhi is sense control. Sense control. And mindfulness to the body area. If you can constantly develop these two, mindfulness to the body area, to the present moment, reminding yourself again and again, with the way to toilet and so on, and always watching, not daydreaming. If you do those practices mainly, it will help you sense control and that. Of course, faith, because of faith you have power to sense control. Faith needs for everything. Because faith you will think I will start the practice. Okay?
Okay, again, when you say sense control, yesterday I think you were saying it's mainly when you look, you don't see the
details. This example one, sound also like the music, So sometimes the music is so strong, like when we are saying Armstrong from the village. So I have a way how to do it. Like you have sometimes, like it's either romantic song music, alright, about a love story, because someone heartbroken writes a super song, It's expression, so it's touching the people and it's activating. So it's soulful, but it's in the sensual world. But so when we are hearing, we don't hear the details of it, but the general tune you can't so strongly coming. If you try to reject it, it won't work also. So what I do is, I turn that tune into compassion to all the world. You understand? That love to... So then I go to more samadhi. That's on Armstrong, like when we had to go into the village, go house to house. Then there are sometimes heavy metal coming. There are that beat, when you're going Armstrong, you can hear from some house. Because I know some young people, they have frankly told me, like early morning when they get up, set Set means like, the like heavy metal, all this like that. The record, they start early morning. Young drum. So when you're going, I remember like beat. You don't try to fight with that. So what I did was, I was imagining Arhants removing their defilements, marching with that. This so you have to be, you have to not fight with sometimes. And then you get emotion and the meaning of many years back.
When you're walking around the Mandela restaurants, that you can't breathe inside myself,
That is because if you're really practicing, you know how to, like what is the level of sila. You don't taste it, you don't experience the feeling. Then it's a sacrifice. But you're tasting and then trying to. It will be good. I'm tired of telling these stories again. It might be good now. Like you have to either be here or there. You can't have both worlds. More you experience the other world, difficult to get into the other world. So you have to just minimize it and slowly get more experience in the other inner. Two different feelings. But I should not conflict with that also. Like you have to know tactfully. It's an art. Slowly you learn to bring yourself. You should not never worry, because it should be a joyful process of coming off your addictions and sometimes you fall. Then you are doing it enough, so you continue. When you continue, it slowly builds up, and the other things will fall off automatically. The important thing is not to stop continuing, stop trying this way, but not allowing too much for this to come also. Like as I told you, be careful. Those physical level of that gets recorded and that can delay, that can be that temptation. That's why you get the Buddha's blessings and hold on to that and see the danger of these things, and even the slightest temptation or some kind of distraction could come. Cut it from the butt. Nip at the butt of it.
Nip at the butt.
My mother must be there. She's the one who knows what this is. So, doing this, because if you really want to progress, otherwise, it will affect your material life as well. Like if you start drinking and other, anything, any addictions, your energy level to do anything will go down. It will go down. Even Trump doesn't drink, right? He's not drinking.
No, he doesn't smoke.
Okay. So at that age, so energetic.
Swami Namaste, next year I will have a chance to be in Sri Lanka for a longer period of time with my father. So his house is by a main road. So it's like noises of buses and honking, everything.
Sleeping on the main road, like.
Yes. 4 o'clock in the morning, like 10 o'clock at night. How do you practice? Because you are in that situation day and night for a long period.
Give up and practice the let go meditation. Let go meditation means let go meditation also. I did like that also, because I was given a room at Mahabodhi Society when I was later. It was like in the front, old, there's like a castle, they have made it. At the Anagarika Dharmapala time, they had to make it like a church. There are some rules with the British time not to make it a Buddhist temple. So this way they made a kind of a trick, so there's like rooms side, it's like when you're there, it's all these vendors, sound, everything, you're like living in the market. And this was even in Buddha Gaya. There are so much programs going on, and there are typical chanting, especially that time. And the lady also who's organizer is very devoted, very devoted person. So she respects everything, but one day she saw me. I have a place where I sit down, and you would have seen those days. So once she passed that way and said, "Oh, Bhante, I hope you are not disturbing this thing." I remember I told him I'm disturbed if I'm attached to silence. So attachment is the real sound. So if you remove attachment, it's the real silence. Okay? So there's a space in your mind where you have to come to that not getting attached. So from what you are irritated, you must be able to notice that. So then now any situation, that letting go that which you are, like even people, situations, you're expecting something, that's what brings you this thing. So beforehand, you know that you can have a vast mind where you can beforehand you know, if I build up this thing like that, this will come to me. I will have, it's a nature's law. So you have that, I was telling, what did you say? Not clinging meditation, right? So let go meditation. Let go meditation, it has both ways, right? So you have to practice that. That's a very important thing. Others, Buddha's teaching is mainly that. So it will happen more strongly with this wisdom. Clinging is absent in the Ara. So you have to practice that. And so some karma maybe, so that you have to be in that. How long will you have to be there?
I think
Maybe
longer.
Don't worry,
time. He's turning 90 next year, so I'll have to stay there.
That's okay. You have a good chance to do your duty. And maybe you can find a quiet place in the evening, go to a temple nearby, and like that, find a way. Or just come for the service, what you have to do for your father, and maybe be in another place that you can find, but be prepared to, it's unavoidable to come to this non-clinging meditation. If you develop that, is a big development, I think. More than all this trying to.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ සිරිපාද ගැන කියනකොට මේ එතන වෙන කාර්යය දෙන්න ඒ වගේ ගොඩක් දේවල් වෙනවා ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ.
ඔව් වෙන්න.
රහතන් වහන්සේලා වඩිනවා කියලා කියනවා.
අපි ඒක මෙහෙමයි. ඒක අපි රහත් වුණා කියලා හිත දකින්න කොහොමද කියලා හිතන්නේ. يعني ඉතින් අර මේ පුළුවන්. මම ඒක ආසනාවේ අපේ මහත්තයම out of track track පරිණාමය මත එක.
මට වඩින්නේ.
මේ වෙලාවේ කවන්න නැත්නම් වෙන්න පුළුවන් අපි ඒක කියන්නේ. වැඩි තියෙන්නේ අර හොඳයි අපේ ශ්‍රද්ධාවට හොඳයි. ශ්‍රීපාදයේ අద్భుත තැන. ඒක මොකද කෙනෙක්ගේ පාදයේ the footprint to be this thing and so on. But yeah, it's okay. But it's okay. So I think
group picture එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා.
right.
පොඩි group එකක්
කමක් නෑ මොකද මේ අපේ පළවෙනි රිට්‍රීට් එක කොහෙද? USA එකේ. අතන ගලේ පළවෙනි රිට්‍රීට් එක දවසේ මොන කට්ටිය ගත්තා. මම ඒක මතක් වෙනවා ඉතින් කැමති දෙයක්. But tomorrow we are. I have shaved also, so I live more.
That's on collagen. Try.
He got you collagen bottle. I said
I'm very upset with those people who create it because, but as I told you, it will be like on a dead body. They do all the things, drinking, smoking. I mean, I'm telling you, people will do all that and put that cream on, and but it will. But I'm just trying to encourage people that they will practice and it will change their body also, so that it will inspire them to, continue to do good, continue to keep purity, so that they will. That's very important. Otherwise, you should know you have a long face. What's the meaning? So you notice, I can't have who are practicing, others should notice that. Especially now you go out of the retreat. We'll see, I mean, I told you, like husbands, they were a little skeptical when the wife went back. They want to do the retreat. So many came like that. That's how you convince them also. There's something. Definitely, I have seen this third day, fourth day, your aura should change. Yeah, your aura change, definitely. It has to, otherwise, find a river, I will jump in there. all this. It will happen because your thoughts are being changed so much. I kept it in a sacred zone. I'm very happy, really. Some good karma for me. Yes.
So how much you should take care of the body? Because I know the body is not permanent, but you don't want to go bad too much, right? Like normally we still put lotion and sunscreen. Is that like a good or no? It's not good.
I don't know. I see my mom. She never uses this cosmetics and all that. Actually, I was very surprised how she had that. Even now, I had a very terrible experience, to be honestly, once in southern India, with my aunts and relations. We went on a trip, and then my mom, we were all there in one place. All went, some shopping thing. So I was like a good boy, I want to help them, or I went with them. I didn't know what I'm going to be up to, or what I'm going to face. So they were going from sari shop to sari shop, I was really, it was like, it was terrible for me. Because if they buy something, it's okay. They will pull one sari shop and to another shop. I don't know how it was. First time I saw these things, my mother never went. Mother girl was having what she like what she wears, what she thing. It's very deep. People used to think like something wrong with her also those days. But I think women, I don't know. What you used to, like my grandma used to dye her hair, and like she was different. Morning for sure, like in Sri Lanka. Tomorrow shall we try to take?
But Desi wouldn't be
Yeah,
there.
I don't know. Maybe we wouldn't be here.
Okay, then you can come here. Quickly you can take it.
Can we go?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, please.
I don't know how you can teach everybody. What about that Malaysia?
Oh, she doesn't like it. She doesn't take pictures. She doesn't take pictures.
I also don't take pictures, but what to do? I think they.
You want to take it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Is it off? No, I'll take a picture for you. So you want me to just press the button, right?
Sister, are you
I
okay?
can't see the light. You want it light? Okay, I'm not a photographer. She told me okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'll take one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you want to see us? Is this okay? Because that's that, This thing says, and this was, I was trying not to cover it. Could you check with them?
I'll take it closer.
Yeah, okay.
I'll do like that. Oh, this way. Just like so.
Yeah, I'll take the picture.
How does it look?
I need like a look. I want to kind of bring it closer,
Like here.
and then so. Take one like this. Okay, I'll take one like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Close. Okay.
You want to
I'm
take it there?
good.
Okay.
This will fit anywhere else to stand right there. Yeah.
Something maybe your body. So, have a beautiful night here. To beat my health, otherwise I would like to use this space more. That is the little walk, and the first nights also when I stayed, it was cold there and then I had the flame thing, the heaviness of this in the beginning, but I felt that nice and pure atmosphere. So useful for this. But now only I'm having those issues, but anyway, it's a wonderful even one night here. National Park, and also really unique thing, contemplating, awakening, path to enlightenment, even in this part of the world. It is very unique, I think. And I hope those mates, that is infinite compassion to all human beings. So he was only in one area. So he took the Sangha, Anima Sangha. That those days, even Arahants in the India, he told to go in a single way, don't to go together, so that the Devas and Manushas will benefit. So not easy. That's why I'm not an Arahant, but I was at least waiting for nature's calling. Some sign to do this. So this was one occasion 2 years back. So see the sign is there to do. So I'm doing it. That gives me consolation because of the modern time and period, I think it's my duty to do at least something I'm personally sure of the path. Please share it to some others too who are capable to get liberated. I've been always having that compassion, wishing that one statement also some people remind me when the ashram or dhara in Sri Lanka was open and when first programs. You see it's happening, but you always said, I don't want Nibbana which others cannot experience. It's like a kind of a compassionate wish. So I'm so happy now, whatever I'm tasted, something that people are showing the way at least how to taste it. So, but I'm sure you will see a big difference. If you have now stayed, I know people, they don't want to remove their clothes they were wearing when they went back home. Because it was like an entire kind of, you can see a big difference, the home, the energy and this thing, and then who have been, it's very much experience if you have just been here only. Even something you have been, because it already have lifted you to a higher plane of thinking, contemplation, and consciousness, awareness. So it will be like a seed. It will repeat. Just that you have happened to come and get that is good enough. Like I told you here, you come, you definitely get that injection of favoring, and you'll be drawn to that. So it might not come because karmas will come too, but definitely that memory will drive you one day. in this life or another life, it will propel you towards this. So, all this good karma you have accumulated all these days of your parents, your relations, and hardly there's a being who has not been your relation, like the Buddha. That's why from the lowest to the highest, all the divine beings and other beings were suffering too. And all human beings get a share of this good karma to go on this path as long as Buddha's teachings and dispensation is there, that they will get encouragement to get freedom and peace in their mind. And fearlessness from the samsaric suffering and fear, especially when you're coming to a helpless stage of death. That's that samsaric fear of death, fear of this will people have to face it, uncertainty, and these things will diminish so much when this master, fearless master, and the greatest compassionate being who walked on this planet, when you have touched his wisdom, and this will be the greatest blessings you will get from this connection. So I wish you good luck and protection for you to continue on this path, and may the Devatas give our protection, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and all they were divine noble beings in the four directions, Sakka, King of Gods, and Sampati Brahmadiviraj, and divinely kings who are protecting, Deva kings, Brahma kings, great gods, all protecting this noble teaching, this human planet, for until the Sasana, for it to flourish out of compassion to humanity. May they all receive this good karma, seen and unseen. Beings who are perfect in practicing, may they also get these merits and use all their force to protect it, give it to the people more and more, and to the lowest to the highest, and they were saying, these are all the protective Devatas, Gandharva, Bhairava, Naga, Nagin, Shiva, Munivaru, Sitala, all those noble beings who support these teachings and practice, may they receive this karma. And all in this country, all the people who are living here, other nationalities, even who can't take part and who are human beings, all like one family, even other countries, all human beings in this period, may they feel the mighty force of the Arahant, the symbol of the Arahant, the Arahant Praja. May those beings give us all a solid, very soon, and most witness a sacred feeling.